But like even when I just went to Six Flags,
Press the button.
like
I pressed the button, by the way.
oh, but even when I went
You
to
can,
Six Flags, like
yeah,
like it just makes sense. Martyr is smarter.
absolutely. And your great mayor, Andre Dickens, he's out here trying to promote this great city of Atlanta and the great things that the city has to offer. And I think Marta is at the top of the list.
Right. There's like one more just sitting here. Hold on. I mean, keep talking.
I mean, I did not have an intro for today's show.
Well, then how are we doing? That's the best way to do it. Got his ass.
Not too bad, man. How are you doing today?
We're doing pretty good. This is what our second week in a row now doing a Thursday.
Yeah.
Getting started a little bit earlier too. We're doing better, right? We're doing better.
You know what? I did forget that we do want to talk a little W today. Not to open the show because we want people to watch it. But we
it's not terribly important anyways. I mean, if we're being honest. There's no Caitlin Clark.
But we got to talk about Dejanay Carrington and them down by the pool on Instagram Live, drunk as hell, the night before they got their asses trounced. But Paige went off for 35, and why are Paige and Enrique telling y'all to go to sleep? And why are y'all on Facebook Live or Instagram Live? And y'all are lucky that you are the WNBA and you're lightly covered, because if you were NBA players doing this, First Take would have let off with you.
Well, but they're not. So that's why they did it, because they knew that it wouldn't cause that much stir. Like the local beat writer, maybe, but like,
But that's what I need.
Social media will talk about it, but like,
but that's what I need.
The league doesn't even care.
But I need for Angel Reese fans to like understand that the way this mass media works is things get covered when people care about it, which is why Angel Reese gets covered the way that she does, good and bad.
Oh, you mean when she puts her ass on display?
Yeah, or when she has a great game like she did against the New York Liberty, right?
Didn't they lose by 20 something still?
I said she had a great game. She's not on a good team. She can only do so much.
So was that the first time that she actually had more points than misses in a game this season? Probably.
I haven't kept up with her game logs.
Well, because it's nothing to keep up about.
I wouldn't say all of that. She's averaging like 9 a game, 12 rebounds.
I wonder what her plus or minus is.
Her plus or minus is irrelevant because her team is so bad that like everybody on that roster who gets any type of playing time has a negative plus minus.
They almost made the playoffs last year though.
Yeah, and they got rid of arguably their best scorer and they fired their head coach.
They did. That's true. They did get rid of their best scorer, which was stupid. Kennedy Carter's bulldagger herself should be on the team still, but instead she's getting buckets in China. I think I looked up and she had like a 50-point game.
No, she's in like Mexico. She's like Mexico.
Oh, well, I think she had like a 50-point game or something, just casual.
Yeah, but the point being is that like when you're somebody who's good or who has expectations, somebody who's popular, you're talked about, but nobody really wants to talk about Dejanay Carrington and what she's doing the night before a game, and then they go out there and get the shit beat out of them,
Yeah, their shit just gets pushed in.
Yeah, it's not because Angel is a black woman. It's because she's popular. And that's how these companies make their money, which is then how she makes her money off the court, because that popularity that they show their ad people from talking about her, that then also goes to her people. And she says, look how many impressions we get when people see my name. So you can pay me this amount of money to sponsor my podcast. So like, I just wanted to be very clear. But we understand it because we understand sports and sports media, but the Angel Reese fan base does not understand how sports media works. And the fact that she is so popular, she is going to be scrutinized, and she's also going to be praised. And it may seem like there's more hate than love, but it's not, because you don't get that much attention if there's not that much love. That's
true. I just think that the thing with Angel Reese is it's not about basketball. Like basketball really is like that is not even her 9 to 5, low key. Her 9 to 5 is everything else. That is the side gig. The basketball is the side gig. She gets extra money for doing that. She makes way more money off the court, and shout outs to her for doing that. Like I'm not disrespecting it or nothing, but she's not a good basketball player. Like that's the truth of it. And her fans aren't really her fans. They're fans of the personality, not the player.
But hold on. The basketball is the side gig, but she doesn't get those other gigs
without being a basketball player. I understand that, but like I almost want to cross-examine her, like, and cross-reference it to somebody else in sports, right? Somebody that is way bigger than what their on-court field tells us, right? Like Kyle Kuzma, and he's somebody, like, he makes more money, of course, on the court because he just gets, NBA players just get paid a lot. But, like, I think in terms of his popularity of what people think of him is more about because he's getting married to Winnie Harlow or whatever.
He played for the Lakers. He's on the scene. He's a light-skinned guy into the fashion. So he's popular.
Correct. He dresses. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like he's not popular because he's a great basketball player. He's an okay basketball player, but like
he's a champion.
Sure. On whose coattails?
He played with LeBron, Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, Alex Caruso.
Yeah, a lot of reputable players. Some would say one of them is the greatest of all time. The other one is on the NBA's All-75 team. The other one should be on the NBA All-75 team. The other one, you could argue, is a borderline Hall of Famer in Rondo.
Rondo should get in.
He might not, though.
But it's wrong because if you think about point guards from his generation, he can be in that conversation with all of them, like especially at his peak. And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you up, but the 2010.
The last thing is he has the most rings too.
The 2010 Celtics team, right, was when he kind of really started to take over that team. Because if you remember, like everything up until KG and Paul Pierce got traded to the Nets, he kind of was the best player on the team. They lost Ray Allen. And he kind of became the best player on the team.
Yeah, and remember what he did in New Orleans with AD and Boogie.
Right, a team that if Boogie doesn't get hurt, we're talking a top 4 team in the West.
Yeah, like they could have made the Western Conference Finals and like.
Yeah, they could have had a Memphis Grizzlies type run, like one of them grind Memphis Grizzly teams.
Well, just think about having to play, like being a guard, and your matchup is Rondo and Drew.
That was it. Who's the Byron Scott wasn't the coach. Who's the coach of that team? Do you remember? Was Lon Hollins there?
I don't know.
What is that? That's like the 2015 Pelicans.
The ones that beat Dame Lillard. No. So I would just say which Pelicans beat Dame Lillard. You got ChatGPT on your phone.
2016. Hold on, I'm googling it. I mean, yeah, ChatGPT probably makes the most sense.
It's way faster.
Okay, it's not 16, so it's 17. But I felt like 7 because Boogie joined the Warriors the next year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's 2017. It's 2017. They lost to the Warriors in the semifinals. Yeah, they beat the Blazers. They beat the Blazers in the first round. I want to make sure. God, what a stacked team. Just going back and looking at this. Seriously, I'm going to go down. You remember Omar Asik, the nigga he played on the Rockets? He was on the team.
Solid 5. Yeah.
He was on it. Tony Allen's on this team. Cousins. Cool. Jordan Crawford was on the team. Sheck Diallo. Like, these are names I remember. Solomon Hill. Drew Holiday, obviously. Nikola Mirotic. I remember him. Etowan Moore was a starter on this team. They had Jameer Nelson on this team. Emeka Okafor was on this team. Rondo. Is this the same Josh Smith? This can't be. Josh Smith was on this team at one point.
Smooth? He wasn't there long.
Wikipedia is a liar. No, it's probably some other nigga named Josh Smith, but they tagged his because it says Josh Smith, but I don't remember Josh Smith ever playing for them. But those are your guys, though. I mean, solid team, low key. Yeah. I mean, they won 48 games, but the coach was Alvin Gentry. Yeah.
Who did I say? Lionel Hollins, Alvin Gentry. Same.
They're like one and the same. They're like, I hate to say it, they kind of are like the same guys.
They look like the janky nigga off a barbershop. That's what they remind you of.
Yes. The guy was in ATL.
Yeah.
Yeah. fucking Nunu's dad that had the Picasso at the crib. Doesn't he remind you of an affluent black man in Atlanta though? Like they perfectly casted him in that movie.
Yeah, no.
He fits the black people in Buckhead. But have like kids that are like, you know, attractive children. Like he did, he's like good at what he did or whatever.
You know, they cast that movie really well. You could tell that Atlanta people, you could tell it's T.I.'s movie, like somebody who really knows Atlanta culture.
Well, and having the one homeboy from New York, because think about it, growing up, there was always some nigga from New York. Like my best friend in elementary school was from New York. And like, there's always like the nigga that's from New York. Like he's from New York. He really grew up in the South, but he's from New York.
He's from New York. He goes back every summer and stays at his grandmama's house so he can keep his accent. He swear he's from, like, nigga, you're from here.
Yeah, you're from Georgia. Like, bro, you've been going here since 3rd grade. You're not from New York. You were born there. Okay, cool. But you're not from there. You're from here. Like,
got a Chicago nigga like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga move from the Chi, Detroit, go back and see their grandmama once a year and swear that's where they from. It's like, no, bro, you bust your first nut here, man.
Right. And I tell you what, that's a good way to look at it too. Where'd you bust that first nut? Pause. You know?
Yeah, unless you're like Josh Holsey and you're a military brat where it's totally different. Like because you're just moving around so constantly. But like when you like
Go ahead.
Like for me, right? I was born in Hawaii, spent my next 3 years in California. If you ask me where I'm from Cartersville. I'm from Georgia, bro. Like,
it's so funny you were born in Hawaii, bro.
Hey, my dad was active duty.
You don't think that's funny?
Yeah. I think what's funny
you're Hawaiian. You know, you should. I know I don't want to give out too many secrets. For what we have planned coming up, you should, like, instead of AC League, why not Hawaiian League?
Hawaiian League?
Yeah.
What you want me to do? Start wearing Hawaiian shirts up here?
Or AC the Hawaiian. I mean,
what about Aloha League?
Aloha League, that works too. Mahalo League. Right, I mean, whatever you want to do, you know?
And then, you know what? And then maybe like one day I can have some like hula dancers in the background. Have them just working them hips and gyrating and shit. Yeah,
that'd be beautiful. We could play Neon Guts by Lil Uzi and just have a DJ repeat, "You never been in Kahlua." Like, you know what I mean? It's like you. Like,
oh man.
You could have him even get a Nico the Rock type tattoo, get one of those, the tribals.
We're not going that far.
Why not?
I would tap into my half New Orleans culture before I do that. Pull a whole Creole court out here, you know.
Well, you don't want to do you don't want to do that because then you'd have to wear Saints gear. We're not a Saints podcast.
Yeah,
so
no. You see what's on my chest today. I walk around like I got an S on my chest.
Yeah. Now look, I love your dad's Saints jacket though, because it's just a classic fly. It was just a fly jacket.
I couldn't wear it even on no fly shit.
Me neither. Isn't that weird? I tell you what, isn't that weird? Like, I will wear almost any other sport. I honestly, I don't care how fly Saints shit is. And I like their uniforms. I don't think I could ever wear Saints shit. Like, ever. Like, in any capacity.
I don't think I could wear anything Alabama. or Florida.
I could do it. I mean, I have the SEC Tennessee hat. I mean, I know obviously you're Tennessee alum now, but like at the same time, I'm not, and I'm a big Georgia fan. Like my retainer, like after I got my braces, like I had a Georgia retainer. My orthodontist he's a UGA grad. Like I love Georgia, but like I guess because I didn't go there, I just kind of am like.
And it's just Alabama and Florida, right? Like I could put on some Ole Miss gear. I don't know about South Carolina either because of the old ball coach. I just kind of hate him and everything that he's touched.
He's not Sean Payton though.
But it's not even more of my Georgia fandom. It is my hate for those institutions fueled by my Georgia fandom.
Right. It's different with college. College is different. If it's fly, I'll wear it. Like, but for the NFL, I guess because the reality of life is this. Like, I'm a big Lakers fan too, but niggas are. Through and through. I'm a Falcon. At the end of the day, like I can't get down. I wouldn't wear no Saints shit. I have a Panthers jersey. I mean, a Panthers jacket from their inaugural season that we've just had. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't wear it. I'm not a Panthers fan. Like, I don't, I can't. The Bucks, like, there's no Buccaneer shit I'd wear either. But definitely the Saints.
I ain't gonna hold you. If I got my hands on like a creamsicle Bucks like starter, whether it's jacket or hat, I'd wear that.
They're more appropriate. The Saints are just a no, but they're just the big. Like we can't do the Saints.
No, like I mean, because niggas fuck with Warren Sapp and John Lynch and Rondé Barber and Derrick Brooks, Warwick Dunn when he was down there, all style. Like there were Buccaneers players that you like, Keyshawn. You know what I mean?
I still have a ticket upstairs in my little treasure chest thing of the day Michael Vick got hurt in a game in 2002 against them. And I wrote the score on the back. I had the original ticket still from 2002. I
remember you showed it.
20. We lost 20-6 against them at the Georgia Dome, and I still have that ticket to this day. Like, unbelievable! It's unbelievable the Falcon fandom and how that stuff comes together. Which I guess maybe we can even kind of creep into that.
Real quick before you go there, I want to tell you a funny story about a ticket. All right, because obviously I have a mess behind me, right?
Okay.
And like, sure. But I was unpacking this room and like looking for this stuff, and I found this ticket from this Navy ECU game, and I don't even know why I kept the ticket. But it's ironic now, 10 years later, that I have that ticket because that was the day I met Lowe's godfather.
Okay.
And I didn't remember his name. Didn't remember what he looked like because I was obviously blitzed out of my mind that day.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember meeting Duke's cool-ass nigga. And I ended up walking around with this nigga like all day long. And then we meet up in Bahrain, and then we start talking, and we put two and two together, and I realized, like, he remembered me, and I remembered, like, oh, you the nigga I was kicking it with that day at Navy. Oh, shit, that's great. Yeah, so just thinking about a sentimental ticket. So, that's a little deep.
You said what now, though?
Yeah, what do you want to pivot into? That was a little deep.
Oh, we can pivot into, Falcons first, right? We do have a little Falcons news here.
It's ridiculous.
That's all.
We are all here to do what Falcons do.
Rise up.
There we go.
Yeah, Falcons wise, Kirk Cousins came out to the media this week. He showed up to mandatory minicamp. He's not fighting it. He's embracing it. He is the backup of the Atlanta Falcons. And it's not only a good move on his end because he won't get fined and lose money, but it's a good look because there is no place for him to go. His market dried up as soon as Aaron Rodgers signed the dotted line with the Steelers. Somebody is bound to go down because it does happen. Somebody could get hurt. and that could maybe reopen it, or even at some point before the trade deadline, it could happen again. But he should be happy collecting his $27.5 million guaranteed this year to back up. And again, fingers crossed, because we want Michael Penix to be healthy. But at the end of the day, Michael Penix has a history of injuries, and this is his first full year starting. There's a chance. Who knows? I'm not saying he'll go out for the season, but what if he gets hurt for a game or something, right? Kirk Cousins is the best backup in the NFL to have, because he is a starter. He's one of there's 32 teams. He's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL still. He threw for 500 fucking yards last year in a game. He's not a backup, but he's our backup, and I'm happy to have him.
He today, because he could be healthier than he was last year, right? Should be healthier. Right. Today, he could be better than Michael Penix.
Possibly. I mean, if he's 100% healthy, he was not 100% healthy last year.
No. I'm just saying.
Maybe that's a organizational fail, but like he wasn't healthy last year.
No. I'm just saying, like there's a possibility, like if they actually went into camp in an open competition, that Kirk could beat out Michael Penix today.
I hope not. I hope that's not the case.
But if he's healthy and he was who he was before the Achilles, that's not a shot at Michael Penix.
Right.
And part of him being better is just he's experienced. So some things are muscle memory that Penix hasn't developed yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more his floor is higher, and there's certain mistakes he's not going to make to where he could just win a competition. Just like I think in Cleveland, Joe Flacco is winning that competition, even if Shador or Dylan Gabriel or Ken Pickett have a great camp. You know, Joe Flacco, he's 40. He's just seen too much, and he has a better arm than all three of you combined.
And he took him to the playoffs 2 years ago.
And he has a whip.
Yes.
Did you see Chris Sims' top 5 quarterbacks in the league?
No, and I know he does this every summer because Pro Football Talk. That's funny. I used to love watching Pro Football Talk. I don't even check in on them anymore. I'm more of a Rich Eisen guy. I like watching Rich Eisen. He gets great guests. Obviously, they don't just talk football either. Florio and Sims, they lost a step.
Yeah, I mean, Sims and his quarterback evaluation stuff. After driving to Georgia, and he put Zach Wilson above Trevor Lawrence, and he said, "This is not a hot take because I'm a guy who wants to work for an organization. This is my true evaluation of the two." And it's like, okay, Sims, I'm done with you. But here's his top 5 quarterbacks in the league: Lamar 1, Josh Allen 2, Joe Burrow 3, Mahomes 4, Jayden 5. Now,
this is obviously for the upcoming season and not who he really thinks the best.
I didn't hear it in context. It's just the Nick Wright was responding to it. And you know Nick Wright, he's a Kansas City guy. He's a Patrick Mahomes guy. And there's no way in hell in his brain that you could say that somebody is playing quarterback better than Patrick Mahomes, which I think is false, although Patrick Mahomes is winning Super Bowls.
Pat wasn't top 5 last year as a quarterback.
No, like Joe Burrow played better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes last year. Joe Burrow just was on a worse team.
Yeah, I'd rather, like, that's why I guess these rankings, they're always going to be subjective, but what is the true ranking of it? Are you ranking coming into the season who you feel like has played the best? Like, what is your criteria? Because obviously it's not greatness, right? Like, that isn't what it is.
No, because Mahomes wins in greatness.
But if your ranking is based on, hey, my team is down 2, actually down 4, and it's a minute 30 left, and my team's got the ball on the 20, who do I want driving the field? We know that list isn't true.
But that's also not fair, because what if the reason why you're down is because you haven't been able to sustain drives throughout the game, and I'm a quarterback. No, but I'm saying maybe it's not because your defense sucked. You have not had a great offensive rhythm. And yeah, you end up having you're good in the clutch. But what about a guy like Aaron Rodgers who typically just beats you before the fourth quarter starts? You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't have as many comeback wins as a lot of quarterbacks.
Because he's the Oklahoma City Thunder. They blow teams up. He was beating teams.
Exactly. So like when we're talking about who's the best quarterback, I don't want to confine it to who's the best in the clutch because some quarterbacks may not be as good in the clutch, but they also don't make the decisions that lead you to having to be in the clutch. And I think that's a positive trait.
That's fair too. I tell you what, then I wouldn't use it that way. If I had to start a quarterback for a game, and it's not about one drive, but if I had to start a quarterback,
let's do the totality. Let's do a season.
Who does the most with the least is really kind of how you can actually contextualize the whole thing. In reality, who can do the most? I mean, bro, here's the thing. Mahomes' receiving core has been pretty pedestrian. I mean, if we're keeping it real, he's had a pedestrian-ass receiving core his whole career. Outside of Tyreek Hill, and he had, of course, prime Kelsey. But last year, Kelsey started to fall off 2 years ago.
But he also has had not pedestrian, but he's had in Mahomes' world, in elite quarterback world, he's been pedestrian.
And his running game hasn't been great. Like they got Kareem Hunt off the couch, and even the year before that with Pacheco is the 7th round pick. You don't expect him to do what he does. Like
no, but I'm just saying. But Mahomes, if you're watching him play, great in the clutch, but he's not putting up the big numbers. He's not looking like the same quarterback because of when he has lesser talent around him. And his defense is really fucking good. So they're winning.
Yes, the last 2 years they've been good. They've actually been good, but they weren't good before.
But that's when Kelsey was still in his prime, and that was like first year no Tyreek. You know what I mean? Like, but like Mahomes and them don't score in the 30s no more. These niggas score 22. So like, you got to make sure you put that defense into that conversation when we're talking about which quarterback we want to have and who's doing the most with the least. Because yes, Mahomes is doing a lot. He's doing enough with a little, but his defense is also doing a lot too with a lot, so that there's less required for him to do.
This is true. And look, go ahead.
And where I would say, and I'm not saying I would take Lamar in this. I think up until this past season, Lamar had been offensively hamstrung by his front office and his coaching staff.
His weapons are better, in my opinion. He's got better weapons. He's got Derrick Henry, which I know that was his first year.
I'm saying until this past season, right? But pre-Derrick Henry?
Yeah, but it was a rookie Zay Flowers. I mean, Mark Andrews, pretty good tight end. Bateman's a first-round pick. Like, he's not, to me, he doesn't live up to first-round pick. Like,
no,
his numbers don't say he's a first-round pick. He looks more like a third-round pick. But, like, I'm just saying, I don't know. And Andy Reid's a better coach than John Harbaugh. I mean, he's from his tree. But, like, at the same time, if you look at Harbaugh's still a great coach. He's a top 5 coach in the NFL. Like,
but he's not an offensive genius, where Andy Reid's an offensive genius. So Patrick Mahomes is also
but he's got learning. And Munkin's clearly a good OC, like on any level. He's just a good offensive coordinator.
Until the playoffs.
Yeah, but you can't fault him for like 2 years ago when Zay Flowers fumbles at the goal. Like you can't
I can fault him for giving up on the run as early as he did.
I agree.
When the game was still in hand, there was still plenty of time, and Kansas City's offense wasn't cooking.
Well, he did it against Buffalo last year too.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying that's where I can fault Munkin, because I was going to get to the Buffalo game, because he has a track record of deviating from who he is if it does not work in the playoffs immediately. It's like, nigga, you're a run-first team. You might have 3 bad drives, but if your defense is holding up, you're down 7 or you're down 10, and like they scored on a fluke blown coverage, and then
or pick six, like something random.
Yeah, like it's not like they're kicking your ass.
Kick
Like
return.
they had a big playoff of a good kick return, and then but the 3 points, yeah, we fumbled, and then the defense held, and then they kicked 3, but they had the ball in plus position anyway, so we're good. Like, yeah, we're down 10, but we can run the ball on this drive and only be down and like get 7. Like, let's not just start throwing that bitch.
All these offensive guys think these situations. I mean, we saw it firsthand with Kyle Shanahan. They just start overthinking, especially because football is a game of downs, right? It's situational. Everything depends on how it's going, the weather. I mean, there's a lot of different things that could be at play in a football game. But I think that a lot of those guys, they overthink it, and it doesn't take away from their body of work as play callers either. No. That's why Monken is still there. You don't overreact and fire him. That's why Kyle Shanahan has been the coach of the 49ers. Nobody overthought it because he blew a Super Bowl 2, technically, with his play call. Actually, 3, if you want to be honest. They kind of blew that other one, too.
But I got something. I got something on Kyle, though.
But I know you don't like Kyle.
Well, but here's the thing, right? Here is the beauty of Belichick, the head coach. Bill O'Brien, Charlie, what's his fat ass's name? Charlie Weiss, Josh McDaniels. Stop getting fucking
Matt Patricia.
Not fuck him.
Well, he was an OC. I'm just naming out the guys that called the offense.
I'm talking about when they were playing football that mattered.
Okay. Tom Brady football.
Yeah. Stop getting fucking cute and run the fucking ball. That's all he said on the headset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that changes the game because that's what head coaching is. It's not running these cute plays and showing off what you can do. It is
you micromanage.
You don't micromanage. You are just involved in everything. You let your coordinators coordinate. But a big thing that Mike Lombardi used to talk about when he was in the media, who's coaching the coaches, right? You still have to coach your coaches. The coaches are coaching the players, but the coaches.
You're the CFO of a corporation. You look over the numbers. You still have to look over the numbers and approve everything. But accounts payable is who's handling that. Accounts receivable is who's handling that overall. But you still have to sign off on it.
Yeah, but you also have to bring in the VP of accounts receivable, the VP of accounts payable, right?
Yeah.
And y'all still got to go do training sessions, right?
The clerks.
And you got to give them training sessions, or that they got to take those training sessions and give them to their staff, right? For their other managers or their clerks, depending on how large the company is, right? And I think sometimes coaches, especially the younger coaches, like a Kyle Shanahan, he's a great play caller. He's a really good coach. And I'm not accusing him of this, but is he coaching the coaches too, right? And that's but hold on, and that's what made Bill so great is he's coaching his coaches. That's what made Saban so great, right? He's coaching his coaches because it's my job as the head coach is to produce, and part of me producing is coaching you to coach the way that we want to play.
And it hasn't fared well for them when they get outside of it because they're looking for Daddy Bill to hold their hand. That's why none of their coaches have been successful without him. But the thing is, and we'll get to see now with McDaniels back in New England. But
here's the one thing that's not fair.
But you got to let them be them too. Is that not their job? My job is to call plays. Bill, you don't call plays. You're not an on. Now, yes, in crucial Super Bowl playoff games, all that stuff. Look, that's Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's at a fault because he let Kyle do what Kyle had been doing. If Dan Quinn gets on the headset as a defensive coordinator, he's like, nah, we're going to run the clock. We're going to put the pressure on them.
Again, because Dan Quinn was not coaching his coaches.
That's why he's going to be a better coach for the Commanders now. Yes, because he learned from his mistake, I'm assuming.
I bet you if Bill was coaching the Falcons in that game in that situation,
we would have won the Super Bowl.
And Kyle's still trying to get cute. Kyle, you already have the 49ers job. Run the fucking ball and get a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And I think that's what gets missed. Like our Steelers friends shit on Mike Tomlin.
Steeler friend.
Yeah. But like you can tell.
Well, you know more. You know somebody that's a Steelers fan. I'm sorry.
He doesn't shit on Mike Tomlin. I was just trying not to point this at the Turner family.
Yeah. Well, sure. Yeah, Mr. Turner as well. Other Senior Turner. How about that?
Right. But you can tell that Coach Tomlin, he may not call plays, but he's in his coordinator's ears because as he's rotated coordinators, outside of the Killer Bees years, Steelers football kind of looks the same. Like if you look at their roster, the way that they played matches their roster.
He's made two bad moves though, because if you look at the Steelers, the Steelers haven't won playoff games since Dick LeBeau basically retired, right? Like
yes.
Having the old man is kind of like how Moore was with the Colts with Peyton Manning. Similar in terms of you got this old man that was calling the offense with Tony Dungy and Caldwell. Like everybody was with Peyton Manning, the old man, Tom Moore. That guy was always there. He's like a 99 on Madden to like hire as a coach in franchise mode. That's how I remember Tom Moore. But you look at something like that. But his biggest mistake was as soon as he was gone, they never really found a true replacement. The defense is held up, but like they never found a true replacement like that, except for when they did have
Shazier.
Who?
They haven't been able to replace Ryan Shazier.
No, but I'm not talking player. I'm talking coaching wise. What's his face? Flores. He had B Flow in the building, and like they didn't retain him. Like they could have just made him the defensive coordinator, right?
I imagine there are philosophical differences that
because he's Bill's guy. You think? Do you think that's a part of it? Like,
no, I just think the way that they, and this is not based off of film study. This is just off of him being probably arguably the best defensive mind in the room. Because again, Coach Tomlin is not focused, hasn't been focused on being the best defensive coach in fucking 20 years because he's a head coach, right?
He's
probably the best defensive mind in the building, arguably one of the best defensive minds in the league. For you not to bring him downstairs into a role that he could have filled for your team, there probably is philosophical differences.
Well, because he was like the linebackers coach, right? Like,
yeah, and he had like a bullshit job. It was just here's a
but he needed to clean his name anyways. Like that was a part of it, which Tomlin did kind of what Dungy does, like and Andy Reid. They let these guys clean themselves up. You said,
yeah. I said, but you know, Tomlin's from the Dungy tree.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's where all the similarities come in. And look, Ra is from the Dungy tree.
Yeah, they're all friends.
Yeah, but Ra better start winning some fucking games like they do.
Ra, McVay.
Right, because really Ra's on two sides, though, in a kind of way. Because he's Shanahan-ish too, yeah.
Ra, Shanahan, Tomlin, and McVay are like close fucking friends.
LaFleur too.
Yeah, I think he's in that group, but like I think those four, from like what I heard on this pod, they're like boys.
Arthur's biggest mistake was not promoting LaFleur to offensive coordinator after. I mean, and I'm okay with Sark. Like we know who Sark is. In year two,
I'm not okay with it.
Matt cooked under Sark year two. And typically it takes Matt a year to like, you know, have gotten his bearings or whatever in a new system because he had fucking like 7 offensive coordinators this whole time here. And which was a good thing because they all kept getting hired. Like they kept getting head coaching jobs. But like I don't know. Like another big mistake.
No. Yeah, no, that was a big mistake. Like, and that's why I have a problem with Sark because for one, Sark is not just known as an NFL guy. And you're gonna ask Sark to run the Shanahan offense, which Sark has his own offensive philosophy that he's taught and he's came up through.
Whereas he was only offensive coordinator once in the NFL for 1 year with like the Raiders, like post Bill Callahan.
Yeah, but like probably on Lane Kiffin's staff, right? But fucking you got LaFleur, who comes from this system and has this offense, and then you could possibly retain McDaniels because you make him the assistant offensive coordinator and pass game coordinator, quarterbacks coach, right? So now you retain two of the best offensive minds, because the way they talk shit about what Washington did, letting all those guys get out of their building, we're not too far off. LaFleur has like the highest winning percentage in like NFL history.
He had Aaron Rodgers too for a lot, and Jordan Love's good. Like,
but he's still making the playoffs every year. Like, yeah, he did fall into Aaron Rodgers.
They draft well. I mean, I'm not. These aren't excuses. They're obviously it's props to them. The Packers, as an organization, but like
he's a better coach than Nick Sirianni.
I agree. Nick Sirianni's a product of
Howie.
Not being a bad coach, but having
Howie.
Really arguably one of the most talented over the last since he got there, one of the most talented like
Howie. Just say Howie Roseman.
Yeah. And Howie's been a great draft. I mean, he had been drafted with Andy Reid. He drafted well. So, like,
yeah, just say it because of Howie. Howie's the constant.
Yeah, unlike Rich McKay here.
Chip Kelly years. Chip needs more influence. Howie, go to business. Okay.
He still got good players for even to fit whatever his architecture, like what Chip wanted. He still picked out the good guys. A Macklin, Deshaun Jackson led receiving core.
But then
even having a bullshit tight end like Selleck seemed like he was pretty reliable. They caught they caught the end. I know Shady was there, but like, was Westbrook even still there? Do you remember?
I don't remember. But anyways, the point being is that shit crashed and burned. Howie comes right back and we're rolling again. 2 Super Bowls. He finally got his Super Bowls. They're competing every year. Like
Chip Kelly wanted Kevin Kolb.
You think Howie wanted Kevin Kolb?
Nah, that's why they got Michael Vick to back him up to start, and then he gets hurt in that first game, and then he never sees the field again.
No. Mike Vick started with Andy Reid.
No, I know, but I'm saying Kevin Kolb. He started. Yeah, Michael Vick was the backup. Like they had the Vic McNabb thing for 1 year. Then McNabb goes to Washington, but then Kevin Kolb was the starter before Vic. He started one game and he got hurt in that first game, and Michael Vick never gave the job back. But he fit Chip's shit better too. I mean, so
Nick Sirianni is a product of Howie Roseman, but Nick Sirianni is very good at what he does and what the Eagles need him to do, and that's what's most important. And it reminds me of the LeBron bag conversation, where people will say LeBron doesn't have but I'm saying, be real, LeBron doesn't have a bag. This person has a better bag than LeBron, but it's like, yeah, but LeBron scores 27 every night. He has more points than anybody else. So who cares if you got a Louis, if you got a Birkin, you got a trash bag, or you just got, you know what I'm saying, a Jan Sport. His bag carry more. He putting his bag in the bucket more than you are, so it doesn't fucking matter, right?
Yeah, the NBA knapsack. You remember the knapsack? Yeah. But back to the initial talking point here in terms of quarterbacks. So you named his. How would you rank your top 5 quarterbacks going into this season? How would you rank it?
Probably Joe.
Joe 1?
I think he's the best quarterback in the league.
Okay.
Patrick 2. He's not playing like it, but he just wins. So at the end of the day, it's about winning. It's not about how it looks. Lamar 3, Josh 4. I don't care about 5. I don't have a 5.
So This is how I do it.
5 is 9.
So this is how I do it. I agree with your first 4, but I would obviously reorder it. Pat's still going to be 1. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Pat's 1. I'm going to go Lamar 2, Burrow 3, Allen 4, and he had Jaden McDaniels on his as 5. But for me, 5, we got to show some respect, especially because we were just talking about his coach. It's got to be Hurts. Hurts low-key has to be 5. So
Baker Mayfield has
Hurts at 5.
Baker Mayfield has a case for 6. I'm not mad at you putting Hurts at 5.
I take Jaden McDaniels over Mayfield today.
Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah, I said McDaniels. I'm sorry. Jaden Daniels. I'd take him over Baker. Not for fantasy football purposes, but like
no. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just saying that Baker Mayfield is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL today.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
And so like when we're having these conversations, like after like 6 to 10, Baker gets to be in that conversation. Like I know it didn't look the way it was supposed to look from a number 1 pick, but he's won his division the last 2 years and he's putting up numbers. Like, I mean, we see Baker twice a year and it's like, Baker could go for 200 today, 250, 280 today. He could go for a 3-piece and 4 tubs.
Hey, look, both of those games against Kirk Cousins that we won, he played his ass off in those games. Yeah. Kirk outplayed him, like is what happened. But that's why I wouldn't put him 6. Like, no offense to him, I like Baker. I like Baker's Baker. It's weird. He reenacted the Brett Favre picture, right? He really is kind of like Brett Favre. Like he's like a modern version of Brett Favre because he can run.
Throw less picks, but he throws less picks.
He throws less. He turns the ball over less, but he can, and he's mobiler. Like, but he is. Doesn't he? He don't give you Brett Favre vibes a little. Like he's kind of Brett Favre.
Yeah, and because Baker has a cannon.
Yeah, he's like Brett Favre. This is what I'm saying. He's like Brett Favre.
That little fat motherfucker let that bit ride. Motherfucker Baker.
You want to know where Baker would be perfect at quarterback?
Tampa.
And it will never happen. Like they wouldn't make this trade, probably. He really should be the Cowboys quarterback.
Oh, Gerald would love that.
Could you imagine? And he'd be back with CD. But like, could you imagine? And he's from Texas, obviously. But like, don't you think that he fits like being the face of? I don't know. It feels like he could be the Cowboys quarterback.
Because here's the thing. The Cowboys fuck Staubach, right? Like niggas didn't know what Staubach was doing, bro. Like we
start Aikman. Yeah, we'll start with Aikman and we'll go on up.
They haven't had a great gunslinger. Like, you know, Romo was a gunslinger. Let that bitch ride. But like Romo, he's throwing.
You know, Baker Mayfield plays like Tony Romo too, though. Yeah, Tony could kind of run.
You know what? Cowherd comped Baker to Tony Romo coming out of college. He's like,
that's a good call.
He was like, people are saying Drew Brees. I see more Tony Romo, and he's like,
Tony Romo. That is kind of what it is.
He's like, Tony Romo was a really good quarterback. Like he's better Tony Romo.
Tony Romo, if he didn't get injured often, would be in the conversation, in my opinion, with Matt Ryan's and Phillip Rivers. He would be right there with them because they're kind of like in that same. You feel confident that you can win games with him, and really you can win a Super Bowl.
And I think the difference is, even if you like go with you throw his injuries in, he wasn't nearly as consistent and reliable, right? Like I think his ceiling is higher.
More Jay Cutler in that regard, though.
I think his ceiling was higher than Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers, like on his best day. But like his best day didn't come nearly as often, and his worst days came way more often.
He had bad turnovers.
Yeah, but Tony get out there and throw for 450, 500. Like niggas ain't saying, like, even if Matt Ryan has a 500-yard game, which I don't think he does, he may.
He does. The game that Julio got 300.
Okay, yeah, and that was a lot of yak, right? But like you don't just look.
My goodness, Lee. Can
But
we
no, I'm
stop
just
the
saying,
Matt? No. There's so
it's
much
not,
Matt Ryan slander on this show.
it's not
And
Matt Ryan slander.
but I'm supposed to be a Matt Ryan dick sucker because of it. And it's like,
You know, I love Matt Ryan.
you watch the football too. You watch the
I-
same football I watch.
I love Matt Ryan. I thought Matt Ryan was a great quarterback, greatest Falcon, right?
Yeah.
Greatest career in a Falcons jersey, bro. Like, I stand on that. But we didn't wake up on Sundays being like, shit, Matt could go for 5 today.
Yeah, you're not thinking that. You know what I was thinking? We have it doesn't matter who we're playing, we can win today.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Because we have to.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I have more confidence going into a game with Matt Ryan than Tony Romo. But I'm also saying that, like, yo, this nigga Tony might go for 400 today. Tony and Dez could go for 4. Like, you feel more comfortable with Tony Romo going for that many yards than you would Matt Ryan.
I would rather have Tony Romo healthy for fantasy than Matt Ryan. Yes.
Okay, there we go. And that's the only point that I was making.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to look at it. But like,
this was not to try to say that Tony Romo is a better quarterback than Matt Ryan.
I didn't think you were saying that. No. It just sounded like you were shitting on Matt a little. Like,
no. It was not shitting on Matt. It was just speaking to the type of quarterback that Matt is. Like, you know, Matt, he's putting the ball where it needs to be when it needs to be there. But he's not necessarily just chunking it 70. Fuck it. That's just not Matt Ryan's game.
Yeah.
That's all. Come on, man. Thaw me out.
I don't know. Matt, and we're not going to get on Matt Ryan. Everybody that's ever heard me talk about Matt Ryan, they know how I feel about him. But
quick shout out to Matt Flowers, man.
Why is that? What are we giving him a shout out for?
Because I started back doing some yoga, and it's really opening my body up. Pause. And I feel like so much better, and like I didn't realize like how much tension I was carrying in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just really cool, and I've really enjoyed it.
So you're limber?
I'm trying to get there. I remember I did some of my best work when I was like working out and doing yoga.
Did he send you a
No.
instructional video, or are you getting on FaceTime with him and doing it?
No. I'm getting on YouTube, and I'm just going to different yoga instructors. Like I just type in yoga.
But I'm saying, did he give it to you, or you're just saying you were inspired by his efforts?
I was inspired by his efforts during COVID, and that's when like I kind of started doing yoga. When he was doing his yoga classes on Zoom, and then I stopped. And then like me and Sin used to do yoga together sometimes. Like we'd even do like Matt's classes together. Yeah, I mean,
well, I was taking it another way, but yes. Yeah.
I mean, but you know what that turns into,
Yeah. Well, that's why I said, hey now.
Yeah. So just getting back into yoga and just getting more in tune with my body and realizing that like a lot of this stiffness and pain that we have is just from like not stretching. It's like I don't have an excuse not to take 20, 30 minutes before bed to just stretch my body out and pause. And you know,
it's so easy to do. I mean, I don't do it, but like I'm saying in general, when you do think about it, it is so easy to do. You're not asking yourself a lot to do something. No. And like you said, especially like right before bed, or you can do it after you shower, brush your teeth, before you get dressed. Like you could be in your underwear or something, right? And like,
or just
get ready for the day.
Or honestly, man, not to get too freaky, but like, do it naked.
Yeah, do it naked. Hold on one. Keep talking.
Some of those poses, I don't necessarily recommend. Like it just feels
my door opened up. I'm like, somebody at my door. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's just sometimes some of those positions and the way you're moving your body, like as a straight man, heterosexual man, it feels awkward being naked, but just being like more in tune with like you're on your mat, you know what I mean? and just not having the clothes to block your body from like being closer to touching earth. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like I don't like to do yoga. Like when I used to go to like yoga classes, I like to go where I could just wear some tights. Not even on some freaky creep shit. It's just on some super comfortability type shit.
Yeah. Moving around.
That's our hippie session for the week. One of my friends was telling me that I'm gonna end up going to like some yoga ayahuasca retreat in Bali.
Listen, you know, we could.
Would you?
Everything gets hot here soon. We could low key. They might be an easy one to look at because it's like bringing it back. Washington. Oh, maybe not.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey.
I was about to bring. But
that shit I don't like.
Yeah. I almost spoiled the surprise.
You know, that's Joy Taylor's ad lib.
What?
This one right here.
Bitch, that shit I don't like.
I don't think this one might be too. No.
Ho, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, those are for Joy Taylor.
Okay.
Have we talked about the we're talking Rodgers to the Steelers?
Yeah, well, you know what's crazy? We've actually turned the NFL into, but you know what? The NFL is easy to do this with. You can talk about the NFL, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers. I'm a big fan of it. Like I've expressed that in the locker room. That I'm in favor of it. I think that it makes them better. I know Mr. Turner follows the team. Well, he's certainly a fan of the team. I'm not saying he doesn't follow it as much as I do, but what I'm saying is, in general, I like the move for them. I think he's an upgrade. Everybody's shitting on what Aaron did in New York. It's the Jets. I mean, I hate to say it. It's the Jets, bro. Like, it's the Jets. I mean, what do you want out of they haven't made the playoffs in what was it? It's 16, 14 years?
Franchise, man. Yeah, like
10. So, yeah, I think it's 10. That's like 09.
I'm just
10.
saying that. Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, and look, we're second along with the Panthers, but like, I think that this is an upgrade at quarterback. This is gonna be the best quarterback play. I get it. He's on his last legs in terms of career-wise. That doesn't mean that he's washed. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is washed. Like, I don't.
No,
I think that. Yeah, I think he's still winning too. I think that statistically, he threw for 3,800 yards. He had 28 TDs, 11 picks. I watched a couple of those games because they did cost me money. Like the Jets cost me money last year, and true story, $70,000. I was going to win $70,000 if they had beat the Patriots the first time they played them, and they blew the game. But that wasn't on him. That was on the defense. It was, Jacoby Brissett threw a ball, and somebody, who's the nigga from LSU? Boot, whatever his name.
Yeah, Keyshawn Boots.
Yeah,
better.
He like caught like a ball on 4th and 10, and they extended the drive, and they lost the game. Like these were the things that happened. It wasn't Aaron Rodgers' fault. Like it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault that they fired Saleh after they lost in London and they were 2-3. That's not on him. What does that have to do with Aaron Rodgers? Now, what you can blame Aaron Rodgers for? Well, blame Aaron Rodgers for hiring because he definitely told Woody, make him the OC. Blame him for that. Don't blame him for his play. Breece Hall sucked the dick last year. He was on my fantasy team. Let's talk about that. Like he had no run game. They bought in Tay Adams, but basically they were 2-5, I think, when they got Tay Adams. As soon as they lost that game to the Bills on Thursday night, that was it. They weren't going to the playoffs. They would have had to win out, and they weren't going to win out. So, I just don't blame Aaron Rodgers. His first year coming off the Achilles, I like the idea of the structure of the Steelers because even though the Steelers have not been as successful recently, there's still a structure there. They're still a structured team. DK Metcalf does the same thing. I wish that they kept Pickens, but like he does a lot of the same things. They're clearly trying to get a tight end. Maybe they make a trade with the Falcons. We'll see. Or they make a trade with Miami, and Arthur Smith gets one of his tight ends in there. But you add that with Muth, and you have a 2 tight end set. You've got DK. I don't like Roman Wilson and Austin
Kyle
as
Pitts
twos. But
Kyle
maybe
Pitts
they unlock Kyle Pitts. With Aaron Rodgers, you could.
Or maybe they sign my man Keenan Allen off the street after training camp, because
another good.
We know Keenan Allen probably already knows where he's going. He's just not doing any of this offseason shit. He's like, bro, I'll be in.
He can go back to LA. He can go back to the Chargers. That'd be another good fit for him. But Pittsburgh will be a good fit too.
Yeah. I mean, I think Pittsburgh is going to be a good team because I trust what Mike Tomlin's done in his track record, and there's nothing that says he shouldn't win games. I should bet against Aaron Rodgers based on how he's played, but I can't because y'all understand. I think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback that
we've seen.
You know?
Yeah, he was better than Brady.
Yeah,
he was better than Brady.
Yeah, he didn't have the career success. I take him over Mahomes, like at their peaks, right? Like if we've seen Mahomes,
Peyton Manning might be the only quarterback I've seen that I would take over him overall.
Yeah, and even the way Peyton did it stylistically, I like Aaron more because Aaron had the flash, the flair. Peyton was a machine,
and he could run.
Yes, yeah, but like it's. I was telling a friend yesterday, right? I'm not saying he's the GOAT by no means, but when I think of basketball, I think Kevin Durant is the best person I've witnessed play basketball.
They're comparable though too.
Yeah, yes, and that's the point, and that's what I'm getting to. Like just a pure talent. If you put them in a vacuum and you go through the multiple layers of what the game entails and the ability to do multiple things at a much higher level than others, just skill and individual production, not team success. I'm like, Kevin Durant's the best I've seen in basketball do that personally.
I'm gonna let you finish. I love the comparison. Well, I'm sorry, but I love the comparison because you can honestly stack it up to. He also played in this era he caught Kobe Bryant in his prime still, and he also caught LeBron in his prime. So it's the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. He caught the prime. He caught the prime. Steph too. Drew Brees. Well, I don't know if that's fair, but regardless, he caught the prime of all these guys. Same thing with Aaron. He caught Peyton Manning and Tom Brady's primes. Like he caught Kobe and LeBron's.
Yeah, and he caught Eli Manning. You know, somebody like a Memphis team or a Houston team that just puts you out of the playoffs a round too early. The Spurs. Actually, the Spurs, right? Like Eli's more like the Spurs. I know a little bit different, but like some niggas.
Good team, yeah, like a good team. Good running game. Good, great defenses typically. Like certainly the defensive line. Like
and it's not like KD caught prime Tim Duncan. You know what I mean? He caught like old but good Tim. And Eli,
the end of the Spurs, yeah,
right. But like Eli as a staple player. His peak is maybe his playoff peak is old but good Tim. He's not, and Eli was never Tim Duncan, but I'm just saying if you're going to compare the eras in which they encountered each other, you could make an Eli to Tim Duncan. Like they're going to just do the right thing throughout the game.
Yeah,
and that's just playoff Eli, not Eli. I just have to be very clear about that. Wow, that was a good impromptu rabbit hole
for the
that we went down.
And just in general, NFL wise.
Yeah,
how do we just do an hour NFL?
Well, we did a good 10 minutes of WNBA.
Yeah. Nobody remembers.
The NFL sells, sex sells, man.
Yeah, sex does sell, indeed.
Shout out to Angel Reese.
On that note, I think we'll go over to the Indy 500 that we got to see last night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Pacers, obviously, they clean up, win game 3, which apparently 81% of the teams that win game 3 win the NBA Finals.
1-1.
I am not, when the series is 1-1, correct. Yeah, you got to put that in there. But I'm not convinced that they'll still win the series. I still think the Thunder are going to win. I mean, they're only 2 games away. The Pacers are, the Spurs are, but I like what they're doing. I just don't think it's going to hold up. And we knew that yesterday they had to win that game, but you're not going to get Ben Matherin's not going to give you 27. Like, he's not going to do that the rest of the series, which this was actually a question that I held that I haven't even asked you. I was going to text it to you earlier. If the series was over now through 3 games, which it's not, but who would be the MVP of this final so far?
Pascal Siakam.
Okay.
And he's been the consistent, steady force for Indiana. I don't think he's their best player. Excuse me. I don't think he's their most.
Is, though.
No, and that's why I stopped myself. I don't think he's their most impactful player, but he's their most reliable. He's their best scorer. He's their most consistent scorer. Yeah, because I can't even say he's their best scorer because Ben Mathurin is their best scorer, but he's not consistent.
He's a microwave.
Yeah, so but no, it's Pascal, and I think if it keeps playing out this way, if Hallie gets it, that's not the right answer. And I don't even care what the stats say unless Hallie goes off for 30 balls for the rest of the way and has damn near triple doubles. But if he's at 20 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds like he was this past game, it's Siakam, and that's the eye test because Siakam does timely stuff. He's oh, we need to come out aggressive in this first quarter at home. Bucket.
I'm pulling up the box score now from yesterday.
But it's even hard to gauge some of this Siakam stuff off the box score because he scored.
No, we watched the games, but
yeah, no, I'm just saying he scored their first 3 buckets when he kept them in the game early, just by being.
Look, even yesterday, Ben Mathurin him and TJ McConnell were the most important players yesterday. But even looking at it, it could get lost in the shuffle. I mean, Halliburton had 22, 11, and 9, so he had a good game, of course. But Siakam was 21, 6, and 4, and it gets back to the consistency and being that constant, right?
Yeah, he's at 19, 20 every game, all 3 games.
And because if you remember, Chet Holmgren was the one that kind of started the Thunder game really well. He started off super well for whatever reason. Jalen Williams finally showed up yesterday. He was 50%, 26 and 6. I mean, so he showed up. You want to know what the difference so far through the first 3 games has been, though? And I'm looking at the box score even from yesterday. The Pacers benches played better. That's why they're up 2-1. The Pacers benches played better.
You got 27 off the bench from Ben Mathurin. You got a timely putback by Obadiah Toppin, and then you get 10 points.
Obadiah Toppin?
I mean, that's his name. You get 10 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals from TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell stole an inbound pass under the basket.
He had a record. So they put it up. That was the NBA Finals record, 5 steals.
Yeah, niggas hooping. And here's what I like about it though. It's good basketball. It's just really good basketball. And it's not always my favorite style to watch. I want to be very clear here. I'm not a fan of watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander play basketball. But in me not being a fan of him playing basketball, he is a great basketball player, and he is so smooth and pure in the way that he plays. And Shai has been getting a pretty good whistle. Not yesterday. Tony Brothers was having none of that. But
well, we know the extender is coming up.
But if we really think about it, Shai plays really good basketball. I don't like watching it all the time.
I just went through the box, and then obviously we watched the game, but box score even wise, that's been the difference in this finals. It's been the benches. Like so game 2 when the Thunder won, obviously. So Alex Caruso comes off the bench too, right? He had a huge game. Game 1 even Obi Toppin, 17. The bench has been what has won the games. Whose bench plays better?
But that's usually how championships are won, though, because what people forget about the Juggernaut Warriors, it was their bench.
Sean Livingston was a big part of that first finals. He was huge.
Well, but even like in the KD finals, the starters played close. Like, I want to say Bron had like a positive plus minus.
Well, he had 51, 8, and 8 in game 1.
And lost. But like, it was the bench play. It was just the David West, these guys just coming off the bench and just making timely plays throughout the game. And yeah, we look at the Warriors starting lineup and say that's why they were a juggernaut, because that starting lineup was crazy and beat the shit out of most teams.
4 All-Stars.
But like in the big playoff games, whether it's Houston, whether it's Cleveland, nigga, the bench was good. Like the bench mob is what let shit happen.
Yeah.
So this is great. I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's good basketball. And what I really hate though is the lack of coverage that it's getting. I mean, you could say
it's not going to get the love. We're going to look back at this NBA Finals and say, man, this was a good finals. We will look back at this finals as fondly in terms of recent finals. Finals that doesn't get its flowers is the Bucks Suns. Like, that was a good NBA Finals. People don't really remember it that way. Well, those games were all pretty fucking close because it was during like COVID kind of, but like it wasn't COVID. It was the year after COVID, but like
it was still COVID. Like they didn't have like all the.
It wasn't full. Yeah, they were blocking off seats. Yeah, exactly.
Like Jeff Teague talked about it. He said, like, bro, this finals was like our finals. It ain't no big markets. People just don't really care. But like, yo, this is good basketball. Like, if you're a basketball fan, you're enjoying this finals. And me personally, as a basketball fan, I've enjoyed the finals because even in game 2, where I was kind of in and out because I figured OKC would win and probably kick their ass. Oh, hold on. These niggas just went on a 6-0 run. Oh, it kept you in until about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? It's
because it was still within that 15 to 10 point range. And we already have seen the Pacers clearly are comeback artists. Like that's what they do.
So, but no, it's been great basketball, man. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But a question for you there, Parlay Pete. If Indiana wins, right, they're up 2-1, 83% of teams who win game 3 when it's tied 1-1 typically win the series. So if Tyrese Halliburton wins this championship, whether he gets finals MVP or not, what does that say about his legacy? What does it do for his legacy? Do we truly bump him up above a bunch of other point guards in the league?
I mean, and great question. I know that I sent you the thing because everybody was like the Chris Paul debate more of it than anything, right? Like, because he's the first person England's going to want to come after because he's still in the league, but like he's a modern point guard and he doesn't have a ring. We know that a lot of that wasn't his fault per se.
He played in the West with Kobe and then the Warriors, nigga. What the fuck?
Well, we've got a lot of different instances that we could talk about with him. For one, he should have been a Laker, and he possibly could. I know people don't think that trade was as big as it was because Kobe still tears his Achilles, so we don't know if that happens though. But like, I'm not saying that the Lakers win a title with prime Chris Paul and Kobe on the back end of the prime. But we don't know. We just will never know what could have happened with that. They could have won, in my opinion.
Who else would take less to come be a Laker?
I don't know. It would have been plenty of people. It's still the Lakers. Still the Lakers.
That's the point that I'm making. So, like, it's fair in you saying that, like, we don't know what that could be.
But I'm bringing up the emphasis for in his defense.
I know.
The devil's
I
advocacy.
know. I'm boosting your defense.
Yeah,
I'm supporting.
like we don't know what would have happened. So you got that. Then you have the Houston Golden State series. He gets hurt. I mean, we don't know. If I tell you what we do know, they beat that Warriors team. They won the NBA final. They're gonna beat Cleveland. They would beat Cleveland.
I don't think so.
I think they would have beat Cleveland.
But now
and then the next one is didn't he?
Hold on. You're forgetting the Donald Sterling year when they got beat by Steph and them in the playoffs.
I don't believe the clip. I never believed in them.
But I'm just saying, like that was a high performing team that we knew was missing a forward, right? They were missing a forward. But the point being is, like,
name for name, that might have been the most stacked team in NBA history. Like that whole era of Clippers, they always had like, think about it, Danny Granger, Paul Pierce. These were guys like on the team that were like the 10th and 11th dude on the team.
Yeah, Kenyon Martin,
Big Baby Glenn. Like they had great team. I blame Doc Rivers.
It's Doc. But I'm just saying, like, even like in those pockets, right? You have the Donald Sterling stuff that comes out like right before a playoff game. You got CP getting hurt one year. You got Blake getting hurt another year. Like nigga didn't have healthy playoff runs. And then like when he had his best chance to win a ring with Houston, like there are just a lot of reasons why Chris Paul didn't win a ring that aren't excuses. Some of those reasons you cannot control. If Blake Griffin gets hurt, bro, it's not the same team. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck how deep you are. You're changing your identity right before the playoff starter in the middle of the playoffs. And this nigga's an all NBA player, top 10 player in the league.
I'm with you. I mean, I'm with you. You want to know what it is? Blake Griffin, and this is an unpopular opinion, the end of his Clipper run, but the start of Pistons run was his prime. He was a much better player when he was a Piston, in my opinion. Like overall, he was a better player.
Yeah, because he developed in the point Blake.
Yes, exactly. He was kind of a point power forward. Like, but he was better. His shot was better. Like he was just a better player at that time in his career.
Yeah, he just felt that he lost his explosion.
You're right though. They always lacked that forward. Like they would have never had Paul George or somebody at that time, or Kawhi Leonard. But like they lacked a really good player at that position.
If Detroit Blake, who wouldn't have gotten traded, hadn't had all the injuries and still had the explosiveness that he should have had at that age, with the refinement to his offensive game, now they finally have that person. Because no, he's not the refined scorer of a Paul George, but he's so explosive that his jab step creates the space for the open shot that he can make. Like he's not pulling up contested like Paul George is. But like if Blake Griffin gives you a hard jab, stay up on him if you want to. He's 1-2 on your fucking head, you're in the rim.
I'm looking at Blake now.
Hold on. No. We're not going down this rabbit
hole. No. It's not about the numbers. It's not about the numbers.
We're talking about Tyrese Halliburton and where he would stand, and we've gotten off of Chris Paul because you talked about the Chris Paul meme where niggas gonna try to say he's better than Chris Paul.
Yeah, because of ring culture.
But I'm gonna ask you, like, are you gonna say he's a better point guard than Trae Young?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
See, I disagree with you.
I know why you're disagreeing, but like,
are you gonna say he's a better point guard?
You have to put him above him.
Because
Trae Young hasn't done anything enough spectacular for that to be an argument, in my opinion. I mean, Trae's a good player, but he's not great enough for that to be an argument, in my opinion.
No, but here's the argument. Trae got his team to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? He overachieved. And Trae also puts up bigger numbers and carries more of an offense.
He's been to 2 Eastern Conference Finals now, though.
No, but I'm saying with Trae having gotten there, it's proven that he is a winning player. Like he can win games.
You're saying he can be the best player on a team and win a championship?
Well,
I don't believe that though. Like I don't believe that.
But Halliburton's not the best player on this team that's about to win. That might win a championship. We just
But
said
he
Pascal.
is. The optics say he is. The
But
optics say that he is.
we watch basketball and we know that Pascal Siakam is the best player on his team, and Trae
Because
Young
he can do the most. He can do the most. Does it make him the best player?
But Trae Young has not had a Pascal Siakam. Trae Young is
You're
not
absolutely right.
So that's why I'm saying I'm not going to just sit here and make Tyrese Halliburton better than Trae Young just because Tyrese Halliburton is on a better team than Trae Young has been on.
He's younger than him. He's accomplished more. He's got a goal. And I thought that Trae should be on the USA team. It's not about that, but I'm just saying.
Miss me with the gold medal. He didn't get clocked. Trae
And remember this about Halliburton too. He started off in basketball hell, kind of as a backup. He was kind of the sixth man on those Kings teams because they had De'Aaron Fox. And
none of that matters. None of
it
that.
It's a part of the story. It's a part of the story.
I don't give a fuck about the story. I watch the players play basketball. Trae Young is a better basketball player than Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton is in a much better.
But you're asking me what I think happens if he wins. I'm saying if he wins, I just don't think that you have the argument to say that Trae's better outside of pointing at, well, Trae can give you 25 and 10, 27 and 10. Like, that is the only argument. Like,
my argument is I watch them play basketball. And I think that Trae Young is better at basketball than Tyrese Halliburton.
I'm with you on that. But I'm just saying, if he wins, it makes that conversation it's different.
It's a different conversation because we're going to allow ring culture to lead the conversation.
No, but that's why I've led off with Chris Paul, because the Chris Paul part is he's not better than Chris Paul.
Hold on, let me finish. We're like with the Trae. I'm using Trae Young and Hallie because they're more contemporaries, right? And it's ring or not. It's an argument, right?
You would talk about it.
It's a legitimate argument without the rings. But I'm saying ring culture should be one of the last things that goes into the argument about who's a better player. It should not drive. Ring culture should not drive who's the better player because it's a team game, and there are so many different things outside of a player's control when it comes to being a championship team that they don't control. So I'm not going to just let you being a championship player because you had a great front office.
The Hawks are a bad organization then that should be the main focus of this argument because how does Indiana put together a team that can do it, but Atlanta can't? Like, that's the argument. The argument is that the Hawks have a bad front office.
Yes. I think Tony Wrestler is running the fucking franchise into the ground. How do you move off of Slink in the way that they did for who they moved off of him for? If you're moving off for Masai, sure. If you're moving off for Maury, sure. If you're moving off for shit, I'll take Big Bob Pelinka for God's sake, right? If you're gonna move off for somebody like that, Worldwide Westnam,
some sizzle,
Rose,
some sizzle.
But to hand the team off to fucking Landry Fields,
a nigga that played basketball for 6 years in the NBA, yeah,
a nigga my age. After Slink came from Golden State, is trying to build a similar model-ish to Golden State, but adapting it to the personnel that we have, and it's working. And then you don't build off of that Eastern Conference Finals team. You don't try to go get a piece and get better. No. Yeah. I'm not going to knock Trae because he got drafted to an incompetent franchise. I'm not going to we talked ourselves into the DeJounte Murray trade because we understand that, hey, DeJounte is a big guard who can play defense. He's an all-star. He can get buckets.
They made their move on the wrong player.
Right, but it was like, hey, if they can figure out how to work together, we can see how this can work. At some point, I know I was saying, hey, I'd rather just build around DeJounte because of his style is more complementary to other guys.
And you could get more for Trae anyway. Right. Yeah.
But we didn't think that Trae and DeJounte would actually work. If the Houston Rockets did that shit, we would have had a different approach to it. Yeah, our fandom sometimes it makes us optimistic on our takes.
Yeah.
But like if we just break it down really, it's like, hey, this can work, but I don't know if it will. Like Trey hadn't had like a legit running mate.
No, he hasn't.
Shit.
And I think I don't know. I look at it from the perspective of this when it comes to Halliburton and Trey. The ring makes a difference. It does because he is looked at as, yes, they traded for Pascal from Toronto, but like he still is looked at as the face of that franchise. It is more team in it.
Hey, breaking news.
Kevin Durant got traded.
No, Antonio Brown is wanted by police in Miami-Dade County on a criminal charge of attempted murder.
Is it because of that video of him like shooting?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. I was curious as to why he wasn't getting arrested anyways for that. Because they showed that he clearly had a gun and that's gonna be tough for him to beat. But because there's video of it. So now obviously he could say he was defending himself. So of course there's that. But
he also like they were retreating and he went after him. I don't know how stand your ground works in Florida. But sorry.
We've seen how it works.
Yeah, but he's black. But he's a black man shooting the gun.
That's true. There's that
aspect. He's Antonio Brown, and
you know this gets back to being an offensive coordinator and game plan and how things in the game. However you respond, it's different. But except he's dealing with his actual life. But
that's why we don't go to those type places.
No, I don't want to hang out with those people. I met Antonio Brown. I think I told you this. Like,
on a flight, right?
To New York. Talked to him for a little bit. I asked him. There are two things I asked. I was like, Arthur Blank needs to give you a call. Is what I said. And then, he was like, he said like Ye had him. He talked about Kanye. He's like, Ye got me, bro, is what he said. And I was like, okay.
They get your blood rush?
No. But I know that he was hanging out at that time, at least he would put up that stuff. He's hanging out with Kanye. And I mean, Ye clearly, it does look like Ye takes care of his people. Even Pusha T in his GQ interview, like Pusha T talked about how he doesn't respect Kanye as a man. But in that interview, when I read over it, at least, Kanye held his word and gave all of his artists their masters. Like, he gave them all their money. Which, I mean, he's a billionaire, right? But, like, that's pretty solid.
No, like, what I took away from what Pusha T kind of said from that is just like, yo, this nigga that went off the reservation. I can't fuck with it, and I can't be fake about it. I don't respect what he's doing. But, like, he was still respectful in his description of it because –
correct. Yeah. But I felt that. But, he's an old head in rap, too. And no offense to Push. I like Push. I'm going to listen to the new Clips album. I think if you remember.
Hey, new Wale drops in 3 hours, by the way.
Nobody cares. Kanye's supposed to be dropping The Bully tonight, but we'll see.
Wale gets spun over here first, Paul.
Shit. All right. Well, all right. That's you. But
Wale's one of my favorite artists.
You and Josh Holsey both then. Because he told me when I met Josh Holsey, I feel like I brought this up. He told me up and down like Wale was a better artist than Kanye.
Well, no, I didn't. I would never say that. I would say that I'm just
public opinion. Let's just listen to the music. His music's not better. Yeah. I don't even think. I know people always talk about Kanye not writing, but like Kanye's raps are better than Wale's, in my opinion. Like I think his raps are still better. So. He's got way more quotables than Wale.
I think Wale can out-rap Kanye.
You can give me the J. Cole, maybe he's a better rapper than like his lyrics are better, but like no.
So I personally will put Wale, if we're just talking about just lyrically, I put him up. I put him up there. I put him in that conversation. Like when it became the big three. And you got Wale and Big Sean on the outskirts. I don't think any of those other four niggas are gonna wrap circles around Wale. I
Okay,
think they
that's
make.
fair too, though.
I think they're better. They're bigger artists. They have better relationships, and they may even make better music to some degree. Depends on what type of music we're talking about. But no, if we're just talking about rapping, these niggas just ain't about to put Wale in the blender. Like,
Okay, I'm fair with that. I don't think Wale is like a shitty artist. Like, you know what I
no,
mean? I
no,
don't
I
think
know.
that. But
I'm just saying if like Wale, say if Wale, Cole, and Drake did a song, Wale could lead it off and have the best verse. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I wouldn't be just, damn, bro, can't believe Wale watched them niggas. I'd be like, God damn, bro, Wale watched them niggas. Well, you know, that's funny. He was on this shit today.
you know, but I look back at Ambition, the album, right? That came out my freshman year, and they were promoted in the AUC. And the song Ambition, which has Ross, Meek, Wale, I thought I thought that Meek Mill had the best verse on the song, right? And I don't like Meek Mill. Like, I don't really like his music, to be completely honest. But
I mean, you have no love
but
for the Philadelphia area.
but it gets back to that that what you just said too, the core four or whatever, as it was at that time. Was Meek Mill not low key a better rapper than Wale? I mean, in
Not to
terms of
me.
he had more hits, no doubt. Like
No, he had one.
he had uh dun, 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 you know, the shit for the LeBron highlight reel.
I'm a boss.
Yeah, I'm a boss. Now, Grant Ross helps push the song, but that's what he should do as it's his label.
I mean, but
I'm just
Wale was kind of in a different universe because he had no hands, right? I know it's not
and
his.
No Hands was huge. That's his biggest song. He had Loaded Flower Bomb. He had the shit with the looking at with Lady Gaga. That was, that was big for pop. Like,
see what else did Wale have?
I like Matrimony with Usher. Now that's a little later. That's a little later.
Yeah,
but like
that album is absolutely amazing. By the way,
let me see. I tell you, I'm looking now.
Hey, how about this? I listened to a Wale interview this week. Jerry Seinfeld did that for free.
Yeah. So I have 10 Meek Mill songs saved on my Spotify, but I have 15 Wale. So maybe that's the real answer. He had Bad with, and this was a little later too. He had Bad with Rihanna.
Is it bad? That was still college.
But you know what? Some of this stuff, see, they're adding numbers for him because the MMG Volume 2, for instance, Wale's listed as his songs for 600 Bins, Acting Up, and Bag of Money. Those are listed as Wale's songs, but they're not. Those aren't Wale's songs. I mean, so
they may have been his songs. What you mean?
I don't know. Those they seem like MMG songs.
He had two verses on that song, but like it could have been Wale's song on the MMG album. Like he may have come up with the concept. He may have done the hook, and it could be Wale's.
One of the songs on here I have on here twice for whatever reason. Maybe one's a single version and then the other's the album version. But like Running Back with Lil Wayne, I like this song. I always have liked that song a lot. Scarface, Rose Gotti, I love that song too. Kai Cenat disrespected the shit out of him. I saw that on Twitter at the BET Awards. He didn't know who he was.
I don't think. You
think that was like for straight, like for TV?
No, I think he's disconnected from non-mainstream hip hop culture. Wale is no longer mainstream hip hop culture. Kai Cenat is young. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's young. He's like 21, 22. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Wale went on his crazy run over 10 years ago when he was like at his peak. So it's easy for Kai Cenat not to know him. But my issue with that, and we can kind of take this into the BET Awards conversation, is I have an issue not with Kai Cenat being as popular as he is, but being embraced by hip hop based institutions without truly being a student of the game, right? You know, and I think this is one of the issues that we have with streamers and media and like new forms of media. You and I, we can't source a lot of the stuff that we say, but we learn like our podcast style does not come from like the streaming viral era. It comes from like the old school era of listening to a radio talk show, a ESPN show, like a traditional show where you kind of research what you want to talk about. You want to make sure that you know exactly what you're talking about. And like we don't talk about 80s and a lot of 90s basketball because we didn't watch it and we're not going back and doing the research. We speak about our experiences, right? And but we know enough about the history to be able to properly reference it.
We can reference it. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So that's my problem with like the Kai Cenats of the world, the DJ Academics. Like these niggas like are staples.
Act like our age though.
Yeah, I know, but like they can't reference history. Like they haven't. Well, Act's wasn't born here. So like either they didn't experience it in real time from their own vantage point. Like
he's 34.
Huh?
He's 34. Yeah, I didn't even realize he was that old. He's 34.
Yeah. But like, bro, think about it. We can't speak to what it was like when Cash Money took over for the 99 and 2000 as an adult. But we
remember as a kid, but we remember, we know. Like we know how because school, bro, somebody spoke about this. I can't remember who it was, but point being, it was Too Short. So Too Short talked about this real quick story. I watched this. Too Short talked about Little B, right? From the past.
Did I send you that? Or did
no, I just saw it on YouTube, but he talked about it because he was in Atlanta.
Yeah, I watched that same video too. That's why I was asking if we shared it.
But he brought it up because they were 18 and he sent them to like a high school party at the time. Like it was a dance. But people forget that here in Atlanta, like even elementary, middle, obviously it's clean for elementary, but middle school high school dances, they are kind of, but they're kind of clubbish. Like they're like, it's club vibe.
Nigga, not kind of. It is clubbish. Like I remember getting separated off of girls in middle school from getting twerked. I remember
niggas were humping bitches on dance floors of Pretty Ricky. Yeah,
bro. Like we've been doing this shit since like 6th grade, bro. Like it's the culture down here.
And maybe that's why club party culture is so big here, because even the people now, like it was happening back then, I'm sure, just no cell phones. But even for our age group, the people that are supposed to be out in your careers, all this stuff, that's maybe why it is so big. I just don't fuck with it no more. Like, and maybe that's why, because it seems immature to us, because that's what it was then. But also, it's not what it was anymore. Like when we used to go out, bro. I don't know about you, but like I used to like to go to like the little teen club parties. Like somebody had like have a birthday party at a venue. No, they were cool in high school. Yeah, but like with somebody from another town is throwing it, or somebody from another school is throwing it. So you and your niggas, y'all pulling up to some other people's shit because you about to be around some new chicks, and like it's actually social. You getting twerk, you getting numbers. Where now I think the club scene is dead for us, for one, because it's like super young and we're old and washed, but also it costs so much money. We got to get a table, we got to get a section, right? Because the type of women that we want to talk to, that's the type of nigga that they want to talk to, right? Yeah. So we got to do all that shit, and the return isn't so great. Whereas the way we came up in this party scene was, bro, you might have a section, but you spend half your time in population on the dance floor because that's where the party's at. Everybody down there partying, having fun, and niggas ain't doing that no more because we done got rid of dance floors and replaced all the dance floors with sections. So like the bitches in your, the ladies in your section are your ladies for the night. Or like you may get lucky and catch a crew when you come in, but like if you locked into the section, bro, and you ain't necessarily gonna be able to bring nothing over there because everything is in there is sectioned off. Well, we came up, it was free flowing, so that's why we go to the white bars and shit, because it's still free flowing and people are bumping into each other and you have like natural, casual conversation and people are friendly with their guard down. Yeah, it's definitely a different city now, but there's also so many out of towners here, and like that is kind of what makes it different in reality. It ain't your normal niggas that grew up from here. Everybody that's out they're scammers from Chicago. They're scammers from New York. They're wannabe celebrity niggas from LA, like whatever it is, the case is.
Or
Then you have, then you do have your that whoever's there that night. Let's say it's 21 Savage, who's from Britain, but he grew up here. So like then you have your actual rap nigga that's from here that's there, but like, and then it's BBL City, it's the Miami bitches, like it's like a combination of all of it. And now it turns into not an international city, but like an international hub of nigga, right? Because that's kind of what Morehouse is. It's we didn't have to go out of state to go to school because out of state came to us. But it's the same thing in real life. Like
I want to, like, people don't look at it this way, but the AUC is the most diverse campus in the state of Georgia.
No doubt. Yeah.
No. I'm saying period, because you have so many different people from so many different places, from so many different walks of life that the other schools don't have. So even if you take the nigga away, bro, there are niggas who go to Morehouse and Spelman who have never been around niggas in their life. Shout out to my nigga Dale. And I ain't saying black people. I'm saying niggas. We went to school with niggas who said nigga for the first time in college. We went to school with niggas who didn't like know how to underage drink, nigga. Like we went to school with niggas who also were doing coke at 14 and 15. Like we went to school with people from different walks of life. Like nigga, like
in my class, you got everything.
Like in my class, you got Stevie Wonder's son and you got motherfucking Steve Harvey's son, like two legends at different places in their life. And from like the time that we were in college to the time that I graduated, Steve Harvey like elevated into like, oh, he's like
the biggest host in the world.
Yeah, he's multi-$100 million nigga. He ain't just $100 million nigga or just black legend comedian. Like he's international superstar.
Wealthy. He's wealthy.
Yeah,
he's not rich. He's wealthy. Yeah.
And then you might meet some nigga from the west side of Atlanta who's here on a military scholarship. He just had good grades and didn't really have much direction. And somebody said, hey, bro, like, this can get you to Morehouse. I always wanted to go to Morehouse. And then
there's street niggas that went to Morehouse. Yeah.
So, like, you just have so much different. Yeah.
Niggas that like selling drugs.
You got niggas who party promoters, niggas in the music industry. You got, like, so many different people looking for different stuff at different walks of life that I will say the most diversity, because dog, you're not gonna meet a gang of LA niggas at UGA. You're not gonna meet a gang of New York niggas at UGA. You're not gonna meet a gang of like Jamaican niggas. Not like, because like the island crew, they had like the big island crew, but then they also broke off into their own countries within those island crews.
Yeah, we had all that. And again, that's why when people would tell me like even when it came to going to school there, 80% out of state, 20% in state. But even within that 20% in state, everybody, it's like, let's just say half of the people are from the Atlanta metro area. Then you got the people that are coming from Dublin. You know what I'm saying? Cartersville. It's
Cartersville, everywhere. Niggas from Cairo, Valdosta, like who's uncle
went to all over the place. Blackshear, like
Albany.
Yeah,
and like, because I've met niggas who went to Morehouse when I was living in Albany, who like went to Morehouse and came back to Albany. Like there is a large Morehouse contingent of alumni down there. Because I might be somewhere and just happen to have on a Morehouse t-shirt, a Morehouse polo, like just have on some Morehouse shit.
They'll definitely approach you there no matter what. They'll definitely say there.
I remember sitting at the bar one day and I had on like a Morehouse hoodie or something. And like an old head walked up to me. He was like,
sorry, I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Oh, no.
It looks like an issue with the
Alexa
device.
And he was like, what you know about? He was like, what you know about Morehouse? And then he started like saying some like on campus and surrounding shit. I was like, man, class of 14. Oh, okay. Class of blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you. Yeah, nigga, who the fuck you checking? I ain't, bro. I'm too old to be a nigga wearing Morehouse gear and like went there for a year
and didn't really go there. Yeah.
like you gotta know, especially when it's a brand like Morehouse, a brand like Spelman, a brand like Howard. If you did not graduate and you went there and you are past the college age, take that shit off.
But how many niggas? There's the niggas that went there for a year. It's very, very far in between when you find somebody that went there for a while that didn't graduate. Like there are some, I guess,
I'm
maybe
just
that could have
no,
dropped out like junior
I'm just
year
saying,
or something.
even
But
if you drop out,
but even
just
people
go.
look at like people don't fail to realize this. Like Samuel L. Jackson didn't graduate. He's somebody that didn't graduate. Nobody talks about it. He did
Yeah,
not graduate from Morehouse.
yeah, but he's a little bit
I'm
different.
sure that now maybe I don't know if he ever went back and did finish, but he didn't finish within the time where he was there.
But he's also not repping Morehouse to be cool or get his clout.
Yeah, that don't have nothing to do, but he still shots. Obviously, he.
Hey,
That's why.
hey, let's be real. We in Albany, Georgia, right? And we had one of the spots that you can go to down there, like with the more mature crowd, right? And I have a spot in my head. Me and you are there on a Sunday evening watching the 4 o'clock game, and we may stay for the late game depending on what the crowd's like in here. And we meet some 45, 50-year-olds, nice looking ladies, right? You know, been divorced for years, kids grown and gone, all of that shit, right? And they like, bro, y'all don't look familiar. I don't know, y'all. Cool. We start talking. Oh, you went to Morehouse? Bro, you know the especially the Southern black woman, the way she becomes disarmed and impressed when you say I went to Morehouse.
Yeah.
And then they say, did you graduate? Yeah. Well,
You're right. What type of question is that?
yeah. Like,
why would I be talking about? Why would I be Morehouse if I ain't graduate? Like
exactly. And then that conversation gets real different, and like it hits different age pockets. But like we know what that Morehouse brand shit is, right? So as niggas who's capitalized off of that, Samuel L. Jackson's a little bit different. He can claim the school because it's not his claim to fame.
Correct.
It's not his foot in the door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Was it Sunny Digital or Metro Boomin? Which one was it? Sunny Digital was
Metro's Dell's year.
Yeah, so like Metro can rep Morehouse if he wants to. Why? Because Morehouse is not his claim to fame, and like he left more. Like Grant
he
Samuel,
he literally was blowing up while there.
He was blown up at Morehouse, and it no longer made sense for him to stay at Morehouse for him to become who he is.
Right, Mark Zuckerberg, and I know completely different price range, but like Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody knows he went to Harvard because he's a Harvard dropout. Just like Bill Gates. Like there's so many niggas that went there. They dropped out because of what we know them for. Because they were doing it while they were there. Like,
yeah, but that makes sense. And I'm not mad at Zuckerberg for wearing Harvard shit because like
he can though. Yeah. They embrace him just like Sam. The Morehouse embraces Sam still. But like, because I would latch on to it too as a school. Because
he was also, he was involved in the
standoff in like the Gloucester or wherever. Yeah.
Gloucester's granddaughter, I think, was in my class, or was it your class?
Mine. She's in mine.
Yeah, she was. With all due respect, shout out to Mark Jackson.
Hey, he said he'd knock Savannah out of the park. With all due respect.
See, I wasn't even talking about that. I was saying hand down, man down. This guy want to take it all.
No. That nigga said he would not. He said because they were talking about softball.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm just saying you're trying to put that Mark Jackson quote on me, and that's not the one that I was.
I'm not. What I'm saying is I know what he said. And everybody took it the same way. I did at least.
I took it to his softball acumen.
I didn't because that nigga shouldn't be playing softball. He should be playing baseball. And so bigger balls, underhand throws, that's softball. He wouldn't be on the field for that. So what do you mean you not?
Well, no, he's retired. So when you get older, you play.
I don't give a fuck if companies do softball leagues. I don't care. He's never worked for one. He played in the NBA.
You don't think ESPN?
They don't have who do they go up against? A Fox? Like who are they going against?
They may play against. They probably big enough to play against each other. Pause.
Oh, okay. The LA campus versus the Connecticut campus versus the DC campus versus.
I'm just saying like just inside of Bristol in New York, right? You got enough people there.
Yeah, dude, to have a league, but what is it broken down in production versus fucking on air talent? I mean, what are we?
You probably can pick your team or buy like show slot, by time slot. I'm just saying, Mark Jackson could have been.
He was talking about I'd smash Savannah if I had the opportunity.
Well, that's not what I was speaking to in reference.
Well,
to
apparently that's a part of why he got fired. Not with ESPN, but with Golden State. There's a lot of stuff apparently going on.
Man of the cloth.
I don't know, but
BET Awards.
Yeah, I was about to say we kind of got off track there. I don't even remember. I know we went from the Sirs or whatever, but before we move to BT, just real quick, predicting the rest of the way. What do you think is going to happen? I think Thunder in 7. I do actually think it goes 7. I think the Thunder win the next 2 games, and then the Pacers win Game 6, and then the Thunder close out at home in Game 7. Because the series is playing out like it's a 7-game series in terms of the way they look. Yesterday's game was super important for that.
I don't think I can get off this.
What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
Pacers in 6, man. They haven't lost back-to-back games since March, and they're the second best team since January 1st, only to the Thunder.
Okay.
Again, this goes against my prediction last week, but that's because I've watched 3 games. Okay. And I just don't see the Pacers blowing 3 of the next 4. Right? Yeah, it's 3 games play. Yeah, I don't see them blowing 3 of the next 4. It just becomes a math thing for me.
That's fair. I like Thunder in 7. But yes, to the Black Entertainment Television Award Show.
Hey, can you carry for a second? Because I got to take a leak.
Well, yeah, of course I can. We can get into how BET has.
Just don't get into the Sportswoman of the Year without me.
No, of course not. We can't not get into that award. That is typically the most anticipated award of the night. But what we can get into is how the BET Awards maybe somewhat revitalized where they were going. BET's not been nearly as popular as it was in the early 2000s, and maybe the idea of using nostalgia, like saying it's the 45th anniversary, it's the 25th anniversary of 106 in Park, that'll bring a lot of people in, right? Because you're like, oh, what surprises does BET have this time? For those that don't know, obviously BET was owned by Rob Johnson. Maybe it's disrespectful that I call him Rob Johnson, but Robert Johnson. He had owned BET at the time. And BET sold to Viacom. Viacom is owned by what? I know VH1 and like MTV, but like I'm almost certain CBS like has a piece of that. Could fact check myself. Let's just see here. Or maybe Viacom owns CBS, but let's see. Yeah, okay. Viacom and CBS are all one company.
You talking about the money that was put behind it?
Well, I was bringing up how for this show they got Kevin Hart to host, but how for those that didn't remember, because they were using a lot of nostalgia to promote it, right? You get Kevin Hart, that's a pretty big host, like for them to have, like
but I think Kevin Hart. I think he'll take a check from anybody as long as it's big enough.
True, but I guess my point is the build up for the show itself. You get him to host it. But I was bringing up how, okay, it's the 45th anniversary of BET apparently, and the 25th anniversary of 106 in Park. And it's like, okay, you do this, you bring in Kevin Hart to host, you're giving out a Lifetime Achievement Award to Mariah Carey, Jamie Foxx, Snoop Dogg, and the most popular gospel artist of bass. Yeah, Kirk Franklin. I'm sorry, his name. It just I don't know why it was skipping my head, but like the most popular gospel artist, probably certainly of this generation, and so you sell it that way, and you're bringing the nostalgia, and the nostalgia wins typically. Your Falcon shirt screams nostalgia, right? It's classic, and a lot of people, especially the people they want to tune in, they'll set up a Kai Cenat and a Drewski to make an appearance on the show. He's gonna stream the whole thing.
I say, yeah, they were streaming it.
Yeah, but this is my point. And so, like, it's like, but you can bring in the younger artists too, because a lot of them, they might not really remember BET Awards. Now, BET Awards have had really good moments, like in the past.
They can't remember.
They have.
Think about it. Well, hold on. Kai Cenat doesn't know who Wale is. So, no, these kids don't remember the BET Awards. They don't remember that, like, Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer were, like, the hosts for the first
couple of comedy.
Years. Yeah, like, I remember when the BET Awards started. Like, oh, shit.
Monique. When Monique did it.
Yeah.
A lot of people herald that as, like, one of the best hosting jobs ever. Because it's – and Monique, I was never a fan of Monique. Like, the Parkers, like, none. I just wasn't a big fan. But
yeah, I mean,
I was never an accomplished. She won an Oscar or whatever, like for her role in Precious. Like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Real quick, how did you feel about Sister Sister?
The show, like with Marcus Hughes, like the show. Like, how did I feel about the show?
Yeah.
It's nostalgic to me. I mean, I was never a huge fan of Sister Sister, but like. I was more into like Proud Family. To me was more of like my Disney
favorite character on Proud Family.
Oh, Oscar Proud, the head of the family. Yeah.
Favorite female character?
Penny, but that's because I know what Penny really looks like in real life.
Yeah, but point being is like you not being a fan of Monique and like the Parkers. You're not a fan of like what the Parker stands for. I've hung out with you.
I know what you're trying to say. Go ahead. Go.
No. And I'm not even just talking about like the look at all. Like
no.
Like those women, not your bag.
Yeah.
When I asked about Sister, I'm forgetting that like you grew up in a house full of dudes, so like that's just not like a show that's necessarily being put on. But like as a nigga who like grew up,
the twins are attractive.
Yeah, but I'm saying like as a nigga who grew up with like girl cousins and we'd be at my grandmama's house and I didn't get to control the remote. Sister on, cool. Moesha on, whatever, cool. Parkers, not watching this ghetto bullshit. Come on, man. It's out my face.
Jamie Foxx show, UPN.
Oh,
I think about when you think about UPN.
Oh, they had a lineup.
Because now UPN, it was the CW network, or it turned to the CW network. For Georgia, at least. I don't know what else it was called. I guess CW is what it's called. But it was like Atlanta 69. You know what I mean? It was like, and because SmackDown used to come on there too. And so, like,
it was real.
But when it was UPN, like SmackDown used to come on. And like, you know, I don't know. I never got into like, because I can say this with, you know, it's the truth. I was never somebody that watched really the Jamie Foxx show, Martin, any of that stuff. I mean, the Fresh Prince, I think of all the the Cosby Show.
But Fresh Prince wasn't necessarily a nigga show, though. It was a black show.
But that was more of a, so it's weird.
It was major network.
I'm not saying these other shows weren't proud representations of black people, but I always gravitated more towards the Fresh Prince and the Cosby Show. That to me felt real, if that makes sense.
I was Fresh Prince, Cosby, but also Jamie Foxx, because the one thing about Jamie Foxx, right, was Jamie was living the struggling nigga's dream in LA, but his aunt and uncle also like did own the hotel. You know what I'm saying? Like it was funny and goofy, but it wasn't on some like bummy shit. Where like my mom didn't really let me watch like the bummy nigga shows. Like I didn't watch a lot of Sanford and Son as a kid. I watched a little bit because it's just hilarious, but like we didn't watch a lot of that. I didn't watch.
Or Good
I didn't
Times,
watch,
like Good
bro.
Times. Like, these shows that got syndicated.
I didn't watch Good Times, bro. Like I don't have a relationship with Good Times. Like I know the characters obviously because I've seen it before.
Oh,
Like
Florida,
I didn't watch
Florida.
Like I didn't watch Good Times. Now I watched The Jeffersons because again, prosperous niggas. I watched Fresh
You're a big
Prince.
Seinfeld fan. I know that's not a black show, but
College.
I think of a shit. You love Seinfeld.
I picked that up in college though.
The New Yorkers.
Yeah, I mean, I love Seinfeld. Like honestly,
you
bro,
know, King of the Hill is my favorite like show ever.
If I didn't have the support system that I have in Georgia, you know, like especially with like summers and all of that stuff that I'm not going to talk about on here,
Mm-hmm.
I would move to New York like now.
I like New York.
I would just find a job up there, get me an apartment in Jersey, and just say fuck it.
New York is awesome. I love New York. But back to the black TV shows. It in general, I was never. I mean, it's when it came to the real TV shows with actual, you know, not animation. Like, I don't know. I mean, aside from the Cosby Show, and maybe it's because of Nick at Night, right? Like Nick at Night's a big part of this too.
Yeah, Fresh Prince and Cosby Show are on Nick at Night every night.
And
if you're like,
I feel like that's why I didn't tune into UPN. I mean, outside of for wrestling, but like I didn't tune into UPN. So like
it was
and I
not,
never caught back up on it syndicated either. Like if I could watch it on Netflix or whatever, like I just, you know, it just wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't my parents. So
I'll tell you what happened with me.
Wait. One more thing. With my parents too, like I know your mom is probably closer to my dad's age. Same thing with my mom is, if she were alive today, how old would my mom be? My mom was born in 1961. So she would be 64 this year. Yeah, like my parent and my dad is going to be 67 next month. Like my parents are like kind of old, like in a sense of the Cosby Show was something that they watched, but even with brothers, like my Laris would be 82. He would be 43 this year. Donis is 39. The stuff that went, for one, the age gap is so great to where I wasn't sitting up watching TV with them either. Like, I mean, they didn't watch wrestling with us. And they knew about wrestling, but they would, like, if we had like a pay-per-view, they'd be like, oh, Hulk Hogan's still wrestling, right? Like, they talk about shit like that, but like, I didn't watch TV with them. So the TV that I watched was always Me, Justice, and Taurus. And like, I don't know, we didn't gravitate towards that type of TV. Like even HBO, I never watched The Wire. I never watched The Sopranos. I didn't watch those shows.
Well, no, I didn't start watching The Sopranos until like 2 years ago. But like, so your TV watching experience is so different, right? Because it's curated like inside your house, right? Broken up amongst age brackets.
We watched The Simpsons. Like Laris, we would watch The Simpsons. Like I know all the classic Simpsons shit.
But like, so here's my TV watching experience, right? You have what I watch on my own at my house. Literally down the hill from me, like currently as we speak, but even when I was a kid, was my cousin TJ, right? Mm-hmm. He was at that point an only child, and as we got older, like he has a younger brother, but his younger brother is 9 years younger than him. That nigga had no TV watching fucking rights ever around us, right? Yeah. So then I got some of the stuff that me and him watch, and I watch with him. Like he was into Dragon Ball Z and shit. I wasn't really into it, but like I got into it, and then I rocked with it. But like I could miss an episode. Like I'm not missing the episode. Like I'm watching Around the Horn and PTI before I'm watching like.
Right, I was watching sports. Yeah. Like
yeah,
and I tell people this all the time. That's why I don't watch TV. Yeah. Like even today, I don't watch TV. I watch sports.
Like bro, I was a Sports Center, baseball tonight, basketball tonight, NFL tonight, whatever the fuck it is. Like I'm watching ESPN all day long. I'm not changing the channel. That was me as a kid, right? And then in the evening, you know, like I watch like Timmy Turner and all that shit. But anyways, then you take my cousins Akiva and Jasmine, who are girls. And now all of these cousins I'm talking about are older than me. And the way my family worked is oldest gets to make decisions, and then it gets passed down. So like by the time it was my turn to have the remote, nigga, everybody sleep. And we spent a lot of time at my grandmama's house because again, all of this stuff is walking distance, right?
Yeah.
So I am taking in the sensibilities of other people's households and what their parents allow and what their parents push or what they watch with their parents. And that's building my entire TV watching experience. So like, we wasn't watching Jamie Foxx at my house. We wasn't watching the Wayans brothers at my house. But like, I became fans of these shows from going to my cousin's house or being at my grandmama's house and they got the remote. I didn't grow up watching Martin. I seen episodes, but like, I didn't get into Martin until college. I watched Jamie Foxx as a kid, but then I went back and watched it like grown. So, and I watched like all 100 episodes, 1 to 100.
Which gives you a different perspective.
Right.
Because you can pick up on everything too.
Yeah. Nigga, I didn't watch A Different World until after college. And like that became what I watched when I was like in these military environments that were not reflective of a HBCU. And that would like recenter me. Because it's like, oh, I'm back at home because yeah, different characters, but like you can tie people and personalities to the characters on the show and you see the campus because that was shot in the AUC. You can see familiar places and buildings and go.
Right. Hillman is just the AUC, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure that especially, it's a good point you brought up being in the military too. I know that obviously, especially when y'all, depending on, I know at least in the case like of anyone, I don't know how that stuff works. Like when you're on a ship or like whatever, but even in a different country, like yeah, you're exploring your culture, you're getting culture, going out in different countries and all this other stuff. But when it does come to stuff like that, because of not only the time difference for live TV, but like being able to look at stuff like that, I feel like that would be an opportune time to even be able to catch up to see this type of stuff. Yeah,
because when I was in Bahrain, like you're watching Bahrain cable, and like yeah, you can get the football games and like you can get NFL and all of that stuff through the VPN and stuff. But like the timing is so off because if we want to watch, like when I want to watch when I was watching the Falcons, bro, I'm staying up like late as shit. And then
because what time's the game coming on? 3, 4, 5 a.m.
7-hour difference. So 8 o'clock.
Oh,
so what? I mean, but 1 o'clock window is fine. But bro, you know how I watch football. Like I'm watching football all day.
You want to watch right? The 1, 4, 8 o'clock. Everything.
So like, yeah. I just missed the 4 o'clock window for a year because nigga, I'm asleep. Like after the 1 o'clock window,
you sleep 11, to wake up to watch the 8.
And then exactly, and then you watch the 8 o'clock game. Like you get up, go to the gym, and you're watching the game like in the gym, eating breakfast, and like you're damn near late for work watching the game. But because of that, when you're at home on a Tuesday, what the fuck am I gonna watch? You start watching series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I'll tell you another funny thing about being in a different country and like finding like the culture and stuff, especially from the military point of view, bro, you got to find the niggas.
Of course.
Like, like for us as Southern niggas, we got to find niggas with Southern sensibilities too. Cause yeah, bro, we meet some Cali niggas, some Midwest niggas, and them the only niggas we got, cool. But like, I feel like a lot of times the South, we don't get credit, especially like Georgia, Atlanta-based South, for how snobby we are when it comes to being around niggas. Cause I got a partner like in New York right now, and he's like, nigga, the niggas up here lame as hell, bro. They just think they so this and that because they New York and they from New York, and niggas be telling me, bro, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And bro, I just keep it P, do my same shit, and nigga, it's nothing. Like, yeah, bro, y'all niggas are corny. And I've been out of the state with you. We carry that same aura and shit. It's like, you don't have appreciation for bone crushing, nigga?
Like, if it's Southern, I mean, obviously it's a sin if you're from Georgia and you don't. It's the same thing with Pastor Troy, right? Like certain shit.
But like one of my partner who I talked about earlier, Lowe's Godfather Chew, shout out to my nigga Chew. He's from South Carolina, right across from Augusta. So culturally, we're not very different. Yeah, he's South Carolina, I'm Georgia. Nigga, we listen to the same music.
Yeah.
You I got a little bit more Geechee culture in you than I do, but like you a nigga who grew up playing football, listening to rap.
I was like, you're a nigga. Like,
but back to the BET Awards. I thought
they sold nostalgia on this.
Yeah, bro, that was a 6-hour show though. That shit was long as hell.
It was 6 hours.
Yeah, something like that. Like
what did they start at like 8 or 8:30, right? It's like,
bro, that shit was on. It was just on like one something because I was up like super late that night and like it was on. Stepped outside, came back.
Yeah, still like a 5-hour show. That's long, and that's classic BET though. When you think about it, those BET shows used to run long. They would always go over.
How did you feel about Glorilla tap dancing?
So I liked her performance. Now, what I saw was obviously she did which was the song. When that album dropped, I thought that was the best song on the album, in my opinion, because the beat's menacing, and then also just let her cook. Like, you know what I mean? I thought her shit was dope. Like they set up the whole kitchen. Yeah, and she still had ass, but like it was like,
I think she got a little ass work done.
So,
just a little slight. But I like.
See, she says none was done there. She said, "Of course, I got my titties done," which she has most improved player, no doubt. If you remember, we on one of these shows that we've done, we did I guess it was something we saw, but it was like a fuck, kill, marry type thing.
Yeah.
And
it was Sexy Red, Sukiana, and Glorilla.
And I had said
we killed Sukiana.
We killed Sukiana, but we swapped on those two specifically.
Because I married Glorilla.
Right. And I said, nah, give me Sexy Red to marry, because Sexy Red was to me, if you get through all of it, she was the most attractive. Like,
Sexy Red's pretty as hell. Like when you take
all that shit off, she's attractive. Like she actually does look good. She's ratchet as fuck.
Yeah, but she's naturally beautiful. And like,
my thought was Glorilla is, I'm like, oh well, she'll be a cannon in the bed at least. Like I'm like, yeah, she doesn't really have all that, but like she's probably wild. Now I'm more on your team when it comes to that. I'd probably fuck Sexy Red, and now I'd marry Glorilla.
I saw the future. I saw the future.
Okay. Let me name the next best GM, a nigga that just knows talent. Could I compare you to? Okay, Bill Polian.
Look here, man. I would never ask Lamar Jackson to play wide receiver, but like I trust my eye for talent. Did you listen to any of the Tyler Perry speech?
I did. I saw. So a lot of it. I went once.
Hey, hold on. Before you get too deep, I want to joke around a little bit. Do you believe his son said what he said?
Oh, the walking thing in the sand.
Yeah. Hey, pop.
No, I think that was made for TV.
How do you feel about Tyler Perry and his portrayal of black people in his movies versus what he says when he gets in front of people?
Well, he said that it's because of how he grew up and what he saw, that he wants those stories to be told. And I don't disagree with what he's saying, but a lot of what he does too, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. He's popular for dressing up as a woman, right? And so, like, that's how all of this got started. You can't change that. We all know Medea is which good for him that he parlayed it into what it is. Like, great for him. But like, let's not get away from the idea of that. That's why he's famous. Like, he's famous for being Medea. Like, that's why. maybe he's changed that narrative, but that's why we know who he is, because he dressed up as a woman.
Yeah.
And he played a Georgia grandmother in his eyes, what a Georgia grandmother looks like. And like,
my grandmother isn't like that, and she's from Georgia, by the way.
see and look, and that's another, like, my family, I'm first generation Georgia. Neither of my parents, my families aren't from here. My parents are from Texas and Delaware. Like, so they meet here, but like my family's not from here. But anything that I know, even about the South, anyways, outside of that, like,
She was
portrayal itself isn't. So that's why him saying what he said, don't, like, I'm like, nah, he made that shit up. Like,
no, I've seen similar characters.
I'm not keep going.
Okay, like I've seen similar characters from like the Medea character that Tyler Perry portrays, but it's not the norm. The norm is way closer to the Cicely Tyson character in like Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Like that's kind of what the grandmother is. She's usually a quiet staple in the family who's well respected and doesn't say much, but when she speaks, that's what we listen to. It's like Medea is more of like your wild auntie, and now she's somebody's grandmama, but like she's viewed as auntie, not grandmama. You know what I mean?
Medea is the Harriet Tubman biopic that came out not too long ago. It was like gun-toting Harriet Tubman. That's what Medea is.
Like, cause like
this ain't true.
Like, now, like I have a great aunt who like was like that. You know what I'm saying?
Was she pulling out a gun at somebody's house?
Not at somebody's, but I'll tell you a story off mic that I can share. But I will share one here that I'm comfortable sharing. Like I remember being a kid because I used to stay at her house a lot, and me and my mom were over there kicking it one day, and she was telling a story about how she heard somebody behind the house moving around, and she said she had a pistol sitting in her lap, and when Holmes tried to climb in, she said, "Nigga, what you think you doing?" Pointing that pistol at him, and he left. Now, I don't know if she was telling the truth in the story, right? But I do know that there was a pistol right by her little station on the couch.
Right.
Shout out to my great aunt, Dip Snuff. See, that's some shit that be missing. Like niggas' grandmamas dip snuff in the South.
It's definitely a thing. And I mean, I guess, and here's the thing too. Although my family is not from Georgia, certainly with the Texas aspect of it, that's still South.
Yeah, they carry guns down there.
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, my dad grew up dirt road.
Yeah, and that's a different kind of gun toting culture because I come from a similar gun toting culture where like I got my first pellet rifle when I was like 7, 8. You know what I mean? Like niggas shooting shotguns at 9, 10 years old, and like you're just around guns, but like you're taught so much about guns and gun safety and not playing around with guns. Like these are not for violence. This is for hunting. This is for shooting. But like you don't. So like I tell you, it's where I get torn because I do think gun culture in America is unhealthy. But I hate to hear like the uber liberal voices who aren't tied into gun culture at all speak about gun culture because a lot of gun culture is about safety and being responsible with guns and understand that like, hey, this is a tool mainly to hunt that can also cause serious harm to people. But like that's really not what we're on.
Right.
But again, that's my experience. But back to the BET Awards. I think one of the most startling moments of the night, besides Tyler Perry lying, because we figured he'd do that, was Angel Reese winning the 3-time Female Athlete of the Year award. And, Angel did have a good rookie season. I don't know if it's great, but Clarissa Shields, she had some comments and she was like, still don't know how I didn't win the Sportswoman of the Year at BET Awards, but congrats to Angel Reese and all the other nominees. I just thought accolades matter. And although Clarissa was throwing shade, and this could be seen as petty, nasty work, whatever the hell you want to call it. I think it's a legitimate conversation to have because, like, what is the standard for the award? You know what I mean? Like, and then if Angel Reese gets the award, you know, she's in season, so she's not going to be there. What do you gain from giving her the award when there are obviously more deserving players? Like, Aja Wilson was a nominee, and they play in the same league, and Aja Wilson was the MVP of that league, and Angel Reese didn't even get Rookie of the Year. You know
and they won a gold medal.
And she won a gold medal, and she got to the finals, right? Angel didn't make the playoffs. Juju Watkins had a great run from this time last year at USC, but unfortunately she got hurt. So I understand why that disqualifies her. Clarissa Shields is a champion. Coco Gauff, you know what I'm saying? Simone Biles. Yeah, I said Coco
That was
Gauff.
who I was like, man, why can't Coco get it? Like,
I can understand why Coco didn't get it because her victory was just so recent.
yeah.
But like Simone Biles smoked shit at the Olympics. What are we talking about? Like, that is more significant than anything Angel Reese accomplished. And I promise you guys, we are not an anti-Angel Reese podcast. I think we are more of an honest Angel Reese podcast because we understand her star. We understand who she is. Like when you talk about her.
Well, we watched the games.
Yeah, but we also watch the game, so we want to level set so that we have an honest conversation about who Angel Reese is. And it's not to bash her when it's negative. It is to try to have an honest conversation about who the hell she is. But yeah. I don't know how she beats Aja Wilson. Like, if we just Angel to Aja, one's the MVP. It's not like Stewie won the MVP last year. Aja won the MVP.
She's won back-to-back, I think. But
and this isn't coming off of Angel's college season either, where she like had a great college season, like a championship college season, and then killed shit going straight into the W. That's not really what happened.
Yeah. That was definitely the biggest miscarriage of justice of the night, based on this stuff that I saw. I was surprised Kendrick Lamar was there because I watched his speech because I knew they were on tour, which actually they're, according to Twitter, they're in Toronto tonight, which is, you know, interesting place. But I was surprised he was there too.
They cut the check, man. It's in LA.
It's in LA. I mean,
it's only right, you know.
Hey, he's won that award like 4 years in running, and he's only had 2 albums come out in like that time span. But
well, you know, that's the problem with awards. You know, if we put together an award show, I promise you guys, some of the awards will be cooked. We would give awards to people, like for the sake of a show, we would give awards to people just to make sure that they come to like ensure that we sell a certain number of tickets.
I wasn't surprised. I saw Doechii won Hip Hop Woman of the Year, and she had a touching speech about ICE and all that stuff. But nobody.
You want to talk about that a little bit? Like her one having the courage to go out there and make that speech, given like what it could do to her as an entity. But then also
people that buy her music, it wasn't going to change that though.
I'm talking about the people behind her who make sure that her music is getting bought.
Well, they're Jewish. She's not Kanye. She didn't say anything. She didn't say shit about Gaza.
True.
She said shit about Donald Trump, which we know from a white people perspective, that's a half and half. You're either on one side or the other when it comes to Donald Trump.
I think your boy Donald Trump is fucking up, man. Like more and more stuff is starting to happen to where I'm like, where I was.
Well, Elon turned his back.
Well, not even where Elon turned his back, but the way he responds to Elon turning his back, where he's now talking about one of the biggest issues with the budget is the breaks that we give to Elon and the contracts we're giving him. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, why is he allowed to be a part of that decision-making process? That's obviously a conflict of interest. And then you're talking about pulling stuff from him because y'all aren't cool anymore. And then Elon wants to come out and say that, hey, Trump's not releasing the Epstein stuff because he's involved in it. Yeah, we fucking know. They're on flight logs together. They're cool.
They're all involved though. I'm not making an excuse for him, but I'm just saying.
No, it's just like,
they're all involved. Like, so,
it's not breaking news when you tell us that, right?
Yeah, he knew he hung out with them. That's not breaking news. Now, did he fuck minors? Is the question.
Now then you got Elon apologizing, and then you got what's my man's name? Who
Cash?
No, Trump's guy.
Cash, the FBI dude.
No, I wasn't even talking about that. I was talking about the fat fuck.
Not Chrissy.
No. Here's his name. Where is he at? Steve Bannon, who seemed like he was trying to push Elon out because he wanted Trump's ear and Elon had his ear. It just looks extremely nasty. And then some are saying he deployed ICE as a distraction from what Elon is saying. I'm not sure if that's what it was, but I am sure that I'm very confident based on the reporting that's come out of LA that the getting the National Guard out there, deploying the Marines out there only made things worse. It didn't actually make things better.
You know,
I know you're going to defend your guy, though.
I'm not defending him. No, it's not a defense. Like, I mean, again, the reason I even voted for him, I wanted what I.
No. Let's not talk about what you voted for. Because you weren't voting on the
I tell you, regardless of who I voted for, you want what's best for the country. Like, I think everybody should be on the same page with that. Like, there shouldn't be this biasness that you hold for something.
We're not talking about bias right now. We're talking about actual policy and decisions that are being made.
Constitution, right? Because that's
we had a president who's a Republican president who talks about small government. Deploying a National Guard inside of a state where the governor of that state, who typically makes that decision, did not make that decision yet. That's what we're talking about.
He felt like it was out of hand. And I mean, based on pictures, it doesn't look like anything I haven't seen in California before. But
But historically, that's not the president's decision. That's the problem.
I agree. No, for sure. That's why we have governors. But like, again, I don't. No, I'm not defending them. My hands, they're tied in a sense of, look, I don't watch TV, and I'm not sitting here talking uninformed. But I guess the thing is more along the lines of, I don't really know what's going on in LA. We can see the pictures, the reporting. We know the scope of the situation and like why. We know the why, but I don't know what damage is truly being done. Like, but now, the point, does that mean that he's right for doing that? Nah, but like
I'm saying, but like the point that I'm making is the people who are connected to California, the people who are connected to Los Angeles, are saying, "Hey, yes, there is some violent stuff happening down here. That is happening, but it is not to the degree that it's being portrayed as. We're overusing pictures. We're using outdated pictures to sell this narrative, and now we have the National Guard here, which is now increasing our protesters and also inciting our protesters to become more hostile because it's like, what the hell are you doing? We already disagree with what you're doing, and now you're going to put the strong arm of the military out here in front of us." And it's a president from a party that says less government using more government.
Well, I look at it this. You sent me this on Instagram here about the Florida sheriff that said this. And I feel like that's what type of precedence he's trying to set, because he feels like Gavin Newsom wasn't doing what this sheriff is saying. That's what he pointed out. Because I'm not trying to be funny. Now, Lee, this is a democratic country, right?
Yeah.
You're not doing this in any other country, because in any other country, you are fucking dead. They're not allowing this. So if he feels like it's getting
In,
too far out of hand.
in Western countries, that is allowed. Most Western countries are Democratic
But
republics.
you know what I'm saying? I'm saying you're not doing that, nigga. Nobody's doing this, and I know it's Russia, but like you're not doing this anywhere else. Nobody else. You can't do this anywhere else.
But they're not a Western country. That's East Europe.
I know that, but I'm just saying you're not.
I'm just saying it
for the most part, you're
can't
not doing this anywhere else.
In westernized countries, you are. This happens in Western countries.
Well, look, he's saying, look, we're gonna stop fucking throwing rocks and shit at cars. We're gonna stop all this bullshit, this nonsense. Now, look, I know that even some of the footage, they're like the protests have been over. Like there was the one that was here on Buford, and it was like people defacing a police car or like something. But the protests have been over, and it's other people, right? It's not, but it doesn't help because it opens the door for people to want to be able to do it. Now, look, I don't agree with him sending federal, the government, like sending anything to California. I agree with him I don't know what. Now, again, I showed you Isaac literally interviewed him. He called him a liar, is what Gavin Newsom said in that interview. But I don't know what type of conversation they had, and
wasn't a good one because
if he stepped over him and said, "Nah, I'm gonna send some motherfuckers over there because you're bullshitting." Like
he did, and like even he told like his borders are. He's like, if I were him, I would lock him up. Like he's overstepping. Like he's overstepping. And it's inciting more bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, can we just not have chaos? Because like what he rolled some shit out today to where they're now not going to deport immigrants who work in certain career fields. You know why? Because the farming industry is getting fucked by these stupid mass deportations.
Well, but that gets back to the main issue, right? I think a part of why, outside of people that aren't supposed to be here, being here, they'll blame the crime, like the thing that happened to the girl that went to UGA here.
Yeah, those are outliers.
They are outliers. You're absolutely right. It's just like
there's more crime. There's more crime going on in the
stereotyping. It's stereotyping. That's what it is. It's the same thing with me.
There's more crime in the hood than there is.
If we were walking in Beverly Hills right now, Lee, they don't care that we went to Morehouse. We're fathers. We steady degrees. We're not drug users. Like, they don't care, right? But if we're walking and there's a white woman that tucks her purse and she says they look like they were about to rob me, they're gonna take her side, right? Like, yeah. But I think that when it comes to it, the point is that they aren't supposed to be here. I'm not in agreement with I am somebody that has made money. Yeah, well, I've made money. I wouldn't say exploit. They got paid.
I said employed. I said employed.
Yeah, I've employed illegal aliens. I don't even like that term. Just like the baby mama thing. I don't like that. Like, that's a bad way to look at it. People that are not registered citizens, I've employed them, and some of them were some of the best. I mean, they've invited me to their homes to have, and I hate that I almost sound like Donald Trump, to have siestas, like all this stuff.
Bro, but like, dog, my daughter's mother, you know what I'm saying, like her parents were illegal immigrants, and they came to America and they forged a pretty good fucking life. And I know that kind of slants my view on this sometimes. I'm not with those who say you can't be illegal on stolen land. Yes, you can. Once I steal it and make it mine, I get to make the rules. I think we have an immigration problem, but I think we also are a country that's built on standards and processes, and sometimes those processes can extend obvious situations. You know what I mean? But at the same time, there are people who go to trial and they win because of the evidence, whether they should win or not, right? But they're able to defend themselves. And when we're kicking people out of the country without due process and locking them in prisons in a foreign country that's not even their home country, I just think that's unacceptable. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the individual broke the law. The entity, the country, the state, whatever, the government is supposed to be above the tick for tack and trust its system, trust its process to work through the bad apples. And
it's a broken system.
Yeah, it's a broken system, but we can't use the excuse of a broken system to then not use it and without changing it. Like you can't be more strict than the system until you make the system strict officially, right? You can't just start just taking away people's rights that they are supposed to have without officially taking away those rights by the law of your land. You're supposed to uphold the law of your land. It doesn't matter if the system is broke. Unless you're going to fix the system, you have to uphold the standards of the system.
But he's also doing everything that he can. I mean, I know executive orders and stuff are not supposed to be used this way, but he has that power for a reason. And so it's like he can continue to do this.
But the courts
if he wants to enforce the law, because the law is you can't be here technically.
He's not. No. But with you not being able to be here technically, once you are here, you are entitled to due process to get you out of here.
That's absolutely true too. Yeah, but exactly. That's the point.
But these people aren't getting due process. They're getting the fuck up out of here before the process. So if you're not going to give them due process, you can't just kick them out. You have to give them the process before you kick them out, even if they're not supposed to be here.
I agree with you, but for him, it's open shut case because where's your documentation that you're from here? And if they don't have it,
but that's not the law. That's not the law of the land. It doesn't matter what the fuck.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. But I'm just looking at it from that perspective, like why, why is happening that way.
That why does not matter when that why is definitively wrong. It's not up to for debate. It's not up for interpretation. It is definitively wrong. So it is irresponsible.
It's a juxtaposition, is what it is. Like
no, it's not a juxtaposition. If your boss says be here at 8 o'clock every fucking day, you're supposed to be here at 8 o'clock. It doesn't matter if you don't affect production. The rule is be here at 8 o'clock. Now, if the rule is for you to be fired for being late, is your boss writing you up for not being here for 8 o'clock?
If you're there at 8:01 and it doesn't change anything, right?
But here's the thing. If your boss does not write you up for showing up at 8:01, 8:05, 8:30, right? And then just and then just goes in to fire you, that employee should either be retained by HR. Hey, where's the paper trail? No paper trail? Sorry. Make a paper trail, manager. Do you want to lose your fucking job for not doing your job appropriately? No. That person.
But they have that in the system.
Huh?
They have, I mean, I would think, depending on the job.
But I'm saying the policy is you have to have the documentation that you sat down with this person and said, hey, this is your deficiency. If you continue to do this, you will be terminated. Here is your action plan here's your action plan to correct your deficiency, right? If that's company policy, which is the due process, right?
Yeah.
If that is, even if the motherfucker been late all these times, but you didn't write them up, you don't still get to fire them. And if you do fire them, they're entitled to suing the fucking company and getting paid whatever lost wages that them and a lawyer can say is reasonable and the judge agrees upon, and you should have to pay them out. Donald Trump is saying, hey, all of you motherfuckers deserve to be fired. I think most of you deserve to be fired. Not all of y'all, but because y'all in the same group and this group is always late, all y'all motherfuckers fired. No, that is wrong. That is absolutely wrong.
Even that's why I'm with you. I'm with you.
It's right. It's wrong. Well, stop. You can't defend it.
No, I'm not defending it. I'm giving you the argument for why it's being done and how. Because
But-
again,
but-
wait.
Hold on, we should
Just what
not-
you just
we-
said.
Irresponsible for us to have that argument. We need to say, hey, this is what is being done, and this is wrong.
I
So
don't
if
agree
that's
with it. But the example, even the example you just gave, for instance, you can fire people and not give them a fucking reason. So that's an out. I'm just saying it's an out. Whether that's the real reason or not. If I decide to fire somebody, you can't question why I fired them.
I create the reason why I spoke to it the way that I did was to create those parameters. You are using real life parameters that can be used.
But it's the same thing. It's the same thing with this. This is what I'm saying.
But I'm saying, like in certain companies, right? It is written in a way to where if you are fired, it has to meet certain criteria. If it does not meet that criteria, then you cannot be terminated, even if you've done things that met that criteria, but it was not properly captured.
And so I know that it's not directly us with the ICE thing, but even from the business standpoint, I mean, I'm going through that now with the lawsuit I have, because business to business, it happened to me. Like, it's not that somebody getting rid of you is okay. Like, there's nothing I can't do shit about that. Yeah. But like, what I can do is what we had in place and what the law of the land says, which is why I'm suing somebody.
But what happens if you don't get to file that lawsuit? You file that lawsuit before it's even reviewed, it's thrown out. Fuck you.
Well, that's what happens. It has to get to that point. It has to even get there to begin with, because a lot of times, and it costs money. And I know that there are civil rights types of attorneys that will take on an immigrant's case for free because they believe in their heart, just like a lot of people, in a democracy and just the idea of this is wrong. Like, just their heart, they're like, nah, like, waive the lawyer fees because you don't have to have the money to be able to do it. But all I'm saying is that from the government standpoint, if the law says that there's a way of entering this country and they're not giving them a chance to do it, but in order for you to have the chance to do it, you would have to have this, and you don't have this. It's hard to like argue
No, it's not. No, it's not. No. It's not hard to argue because it says once you enter this country, for us to kick you out of this country, it has to go this step, this step, this step. So who gives a fuck if you've forwarded all the steps to enter the country? Once you're here, you are protected by American laws. So I don't give a fuck about they're not supposed to be here. That's irrelevant. That is fucking irrelevant. And you even providing the counter argument to this is irresponsible because you know it's fucking wrong. Even if you agree with it, but you're
I'm
pushing
on your side. I agree with you.
The way you are presenting your argument is that you are defending what's being done, and
I'm
that
not
is not
defending it.
wrong.
I'm not defending it. I'm telling it how they're looking at it.
I don't give a fuck how they're looking at it because they're looking at it wrong.
But then it doesn't become a conversation if we can't examine it. That's why I'm doing it, Lee. I agree with you. Couture's grandparents are I'm just saying.
But we're peeling back the layers. We're peeling back the layers.
Yeah, and that's all I'm doing. I'm with you. Hey, I am playing devil's advocate. I'm playing devil's advocate. That's how they're looking at this, though, and they're out.
You fired someone before, right? You fired someone before,
for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You've had like reasonable conversations that were one-way conversations, right?
Both. I've gone both ways. Where they didn't get informed, and then there's ones where they had warnings. I've done both.
But I'm saying, like, even if you didn't fire somebody, you just were disciplining them or having a stern conversation.
I've done all of it. But I fired somebody, and I've like not giving them any warning and fired them, and then and not giving them a reason why I fired them either.
Hold on. I'm not getting into that. I'm saying you've had informative one-way conversations where the other person on the end of that conversation, it doesn't matter what their response is. Their response does not matter for the education that is being provided in this conversation.
Well, obviously not exactly, but but it can be used that way. Yeah, you can though, but you
So,
can.
I'll speak from my professional experience. I've brought people into my office to correct discipline, right? There's not a if and or but. There's not a reason. There's not an excuse that I am allowing in that conversation because the reason, the excuse does not matter. Like why you did what you did is irrelevant. Because you did what you did, here's the conversation that me and you are having. And I'm going to go through what you did and tell you where you fucked up in every single step and why this was wrong.
Correct.
And then we're gonna end this conversation, and you don't get to say a word. You can leave my office and say I suck, fuck me, whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't get to talk to me in this conversation. And it's still a informative and necessary conversation.
Correct.
This is how I look at this mass deportation conversation. Because the government is not abiding by the laws of the land and the decisions of the court as issues have arisen, I don't care about their reason. I don't care about their explanation because you are violating the law in your enforcement of the law. And that is not how laws are supposed to work in order to have an advanced society. And nigga, I know what you were doing.
It sounds dictatorship-ish, obviously, right? Like, because at that point, there's nothing, because they're doing it. So it's kind of like, well, what can you do about it, right? And that's where people protesting comes in. That is what people do about it. They'll protest. But
then a nigga in Florida said, hey, if you protest and somebody gets out of hand, right? And
but it gets
but have you ever been to a protest where it got out of hand?
No. Not to that extent where people have to get killed. No.
Well, no.
I mean, we've seen it in history that it's happened, but I've never been to one and seen it.
I've been at protests that I've had to leave because it got a bit too wild. It got a bit too aggressive, right? If a police tried to restrain that crowd, especially lethally, there are too many innocent bystanders out here. And I haven't been somewhere where they were like, you know what I'm saying, like throwing rocks and throwing bricks through shit. I haven't been to nothing like that. But there are far too many innocent bystanders, and you cannot expect your police in that with that large of a crowd, with that much stress, to take well-aimed shots. And now you're subjecting people who are subjecting people who are utilizing their right as an American to losing their life for expressing a legal right because of bad actors here and there who they cannot control, who they are not. Because when you're at a demonstration, you're not 100% aligned with everybody there. You are just there to support a certain cause. Some people will kill and go to jail for that cause. Others will just demonstrate, right? I don't want to lose my life because some niggas bomb rush the police. And I'm in the crowd, but I'm not bombing the police, and I'm trying to get the fuck up out of there, and I get shot because jackass fucking deputy just starts fucking laying niggas down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to be a part of a wrong place, wrong time type.
Right. So a police, the police chief or sheriff or whatever fucking bullshit ass Florida County is coming out and saying that pretty much to run counter to what's going on in California to say we're gonna take care of this. No, bro, do we not value human life? Even with
that's the biggest issue. That's the issue. The issue is that it set itself up to where anyone, and again, I'm on your side. I agree with everything you've said. The law, because the system is broken, you can look at it from either perspective, which is why it would even get to in front of a judge, period. And then depending on who that judge is, then that decision gets made, and that's what makes it's such a broken system. And obviously that's the hard part, right? How do we fix it? How can this get fixed for real? That is the $1 million question, or the $1 billion, or the $1 trillion.
Let me throw another counter argument out here, right? Because I'm with you. How do you fix it? It's very difficult. I do know while you are mass deporting Latin Americans and islanders who have established ways of life in America, while simultaneously allowing
helping
South
the country.
allowing South Afrikaners to come here to start a life, to find somewhere to live, to find somewhere to work, while also kicking others out who have already found those things, that's not the answer. Because now it's becoming, who do you truly want here? Like, are we trying to, well, and if you get into the white replacement theory, there are a lot of, there's a different rabbit holes you can go down here, but like, I just don't like the threats to democracy inside of the country that is the epitome of democracy, because I can disagree with what my government is doing, and often do, but I can be in agreement with my ability to voice my concerns to my government and then change how my government is working. And obviously, there are a lot of levers at play that don't make this as pure as it should be. I'm not stupid here. I understand that Hillary Clinton got more money from the DNC than Bernie Sanders because they thought she was a better candidate than Bernie. I understand that. I understand that we give AOC a megaphone to say whatever the fuck she wants, even if it doesn't make sense. I know that the Democratic Party sometimes support politicians who seem to be anti-America while working in the American government, but it happens on the other side as well. It just looks different, And I think we need this balance. That's where the conversations happen. But once the law becomes the law, the conversation stops until we try to change that law. We don't get to change the law in action before it's changed on the books.
It's a shame we don't have, I mean, maybe to a degree there is, but it's a shame that we don't have well, some would say that we do, but like an international law, a human rights code of law, because it's so different everywhere. And I guess some people would say that the Bible would be that law, right? Like, depending on what you believe in. But even that's not the consensus, because not everybody believes in that. And so, like,
but we don't have a base level state law. You can go buy pot in California. If you get caught with pot in certain parts of Georgia, you're going to jail.
And it's federal if it's at the airport. So
yeah, and I mean, in Georgia,
even though you're allowed to bring it through TSA in California, me and Justice have brought weed from California to Georgia that we bought there. We luckily didn't get caught, but I swear we did. We got edibles and stuff. And like, but of course, if there was a dog there and they sniffed it, we would have went to jail. And we kind of didn't know that. Like, I kind of didn't know that. But
they typically have bomb dogs in airports, not drug dogs. Just throwing it out there.
They died. Shit. They got the drug. I mean, the drug dogs are there though. They're there.
I'm saying just typically.
They're not waiting on motherfuckers getting off the plane necessarily, but
I'm just saying, like, the dogs that you see in TSA, they're typically bomb dogs, not drug dogs. I'm not saying that they aren't. They don't run drug dogs through, but they're typically looking for bombs, not drugs.
Yeah, because it's less harmless, at least immediately. But maybe over time, if there's a bunch of fat in there and it gets out into the streets, that'll change everybody's opinion.
But you know what? In closing, you know what I think could change this country and will change this country? We may see it in 2028.
Better leadership.
Better leadership. And we're talking about leadership from one of the most successful American companies. Leadership who, started out the mall, started in Hollis, Queens, scrapping his way made his way to North Carolina A&T or Winston-Salem State, whichever North Carolina HBCU that I don't really care about.
Somebody saw him. That was the guy that had the vision first. He saw him shooting a basketball. And he said, you know what? We know that the tournament's about to start. Come up here. I'm going to bring you up here with me.
This guy who worked at
Jason Titlock put best. Because it doesn't make what he said. It makes no sense. If that was really what was in that book, that doesn't make sense. Which I'm glad he read it. I'm glad people like him do the groundwork and read that type. Because I would never read Stephen A's. I didn't mean to give the secret away about who you were talking about.
They know.
Shout out to Jason Whitlock for always keeping it. Because his hate for a nigga like that is so deep to where he was able to call it out.
Yeah, no, but like Stephen A. Smith, he's making the rounds again. I sent you a video that I didn't watch. I hope you watched it. Stephen A. and Jon Stewart talking about the world. He's just signed a new deal. He really is a max player now, making we know 45 a year, just for talking. Getting more off the court, and he may be what this country needs. He may be that new voice of reason who can guide this country in the proper direction. I mean, he's fought off LeBron James. He's fought off Skip Bayless. He fights off the mad dog every week. He deals with Molly. He got Jalen Rose up out of here. You know what I mean? He has his fingers all over ESPN. Max who? You know what I mean? What happened to Max Kellerman? Stephen A. got rid of him.
He's getting ready to make his return to NBC.
He pulled Shannon Sharp out of the gutter after Skip Bayless just spit him up and shoot him up and spit him out, and he brought him back to life. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy from Hollis, Queens, New York, who understands what this country is. He's worked his way up. He's got it out the mud. He has a pulse for this country. He is New York, and New York is the biggest melting pot.
Yeah.
So he understands the common day American, and he gets on the airwaves every day and shows us how brilliant he is, how astonishing he is, how amazing, how awe-inspiring he is. And I think if he takes that same energy to the White House, we'll see America back on the right path.
As long as he gets AOC to be a part of the cabinet, I'm okay with it.
Hey guys, don't vote for Stephen A. Smith, okay?
Well, you just presented a convincing argument for why, but
I mean, I could do the same thing for Donald Trump and then end it and say don't vote for Donald Trump, even though I could understand why you'd vote for him over Kamala Harris. But some things are non-starters, and if I think 2 out of 3 terms of a president who doesn't have a grasp of how the United States government really works and doesn't have experience inside the government and understand that you just can't do everything like a business. There's bureaucracy.
That's why everybody liked him, though. That was the point. The point was that he was non-government. Again, and I get where you were coming from with it.
But
now he is like.
But they are wrong. They are wrong for. I understand getting a guy who is not a career politician. I'm okay with that. But a guy who's not worked in government, a guy who's a business owner who can make his own decisions for the most part whenever he wants to, that's not the way the government works, and it's not supposed to work.
He just knows how to pay the politicians, because that's why he got so far ahead.
But for people to say that's a good thing for a president, I think we should have learned through this that it's not the best. Like, your first job in politics should not be president of the United States of America.
Fair. Yeah. But that's why Hillary should have won, because she's arguably the most qualified person ever to have ran, in my opinion.
She is. She's just not the most awe-inspiring, She's not, she has hot sauce in her purse.
She's got, there's that aspect of it, but then she's also got skeletons of her own lying around. And everybody does, I guess. But hers are, I don't know. Some of it's rumor, but fuck the rumor aspect. I'm talking about what we do know. Yeah, she's not exactly an angel either, right? So
here's one of my issues with her, and we're gonna wrap this up, I promise you. Is that a lot of her bad things I think are more common. We just don't know. Like how Trump had the classified documents, how she was doing stuff on the wrong server, how President Biden had classified documents in his house. You know what I mean? I bet you if they raided Obama's house right now, he had some shit in there he ain't supposed to have. If they raided Bush's house, he'd have some shit in there he wasn't supposed to have.
They're politicians. That's the point.
I'm sure when they buried Daddy Bush, you know what I'm saying, George, he cleaned up some stuff before everybody got in there. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's as abnormal as it's blown up to be. And that's not a defense of Hillary Clinton. I did not vote for her. I just took that year off.
I did. I voted for her, honestly.
And look at you.
Really
Look
did.
at you. And now you're following the likes of Lil Wayne and Kodak Black.
Hey, and Mr. West as well.
Hey, free Dirk, by the way.
Free Dirk.
Hey, bro,
It's
they
not
told that
Diddy though.
nigga.
Huh? It's not. It's not. Wait. It's not the D, the I, the D, the D, the Y, the D, the I, the D. Is Diddy.
I just thought it was funny that they said, "Hey, Dirk, if you want to get out, we're gonna bankrupt you, nigga. You will have no access to no money because we know what you did, and we know you'll do it again. We know what happened with Vaughn, why he beat all the murder charges.
I thought it was crazy. I mean, it's not necessarily crazy, but like 40. They say it was like $4.5 million bond got denied, and what you have to only have 10% of the money. Like it has to be cash wise. It's got to at least be 10%. But like, you know, if he's coming up with $450,000 cash that they're gonna hold, that's not a lot for maybe a guy like him. But like, interesting. It's got to be fucking concrete. But I mean, Thug didn't get out either, for what it's worth. Like they didn't let that nigga out either. So
Yeah, they just denied it though. They did. It didn't get out that they said, "Hey, nigga, you're bankrupt, or you stay in there." You know what I mean?
yeah, but I would give up my money for freedom because you can still live in reality. He's got enough people that would
Well,
help where that wouldn't be the issue. Like,
yeah, but he still may have to go to. He still has to go to trial. And what happens if he beats it, and now he's broke as fuck, starting over?
he's popular enough to make it quickly.
Sure, but you're also like affecting your kids, their way of life, your mama's house. You know what I'm saying? Your baby mama, like
Not with Rock Nation. We know that that's the formula. It is apparently that shit with Tory Lanez is deeper than I thought it was. And I'm not a conspiracy person, but that shit sounds a lot deeper than I thought it was.
You know, I just
Jay-Z.
you know, I just stay away from certain topics and certain people and tend to say if it walks and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck, man. You can't have too many similar coincidences, you know.
Sign with Hove.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Okay.
Sorry, man. I don't have my directory up here, so I don't remember all of them. I'm rusty.
Okay.
Hey, we're done, aren't we?
Well, you know, this is our first 3-hour one in. It's been a minute since we've done one of these. Yeah. But it's only because we really extended football. We got a lot more juice out of that football. But football is easy to talk about. Super easy.
Yeah, we've kind of avoided football, but by putting it like on the forefront, you just keep going down these rabbit holes, and now you've done a football show. We didn't even talk about the USA team just getting their ass kicked in soccer because we don't care.
Or the fact that, which is why I wore this hat, that Forsyth County or South Forsyth got the thing approved, and now the hunt for the Thrashers to be back is officially on the clock.
You know, they let us know where they stand with that, and they don't want you and I to go to those games.
No, they don't. They don't want us.
Great outlet, by the way.
And Grant, we didn't get to talk about this, and I know it got brought up, but I'll go ahead at least to close out on my end. RIP to Kyle Coleman, the Morehouse brother that was found in a pond in Virginia after what appeared, I guess, to be a single car accident, but somehow he got in a car accident and then he was found in a pond. But like, so RIP to him, prayers up to his family, loved ones, and the entire Morehouse College community.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Don't want to speculate about that until more information comes out. But yeah, prayers to the family, prayers to the friends, prayers to all the loved ones, and prayers to the Morehouse community, because We know about the bonds and community that you build on that campus, and you may only have direct interaction with somebody for a semester or two, but it really truly does build a lifelong bond with those people. Shout out to niggas like Deshaun Green. If I see you ever again, niggas.
Yeah, D Green, and it happens too often too. I mean, again, we were in PSP. We've had 3 guys that were in that small program of about 52 kids that have already passed, and one of them died after freshman year too. And it wasn't the same circumstance, but like still, it happens too often, and it seems like it's been a lot of that kind of happening in Morehouse. At least every time I look at like Hugh Douglas's son was one a couple of years ago. He got in a car accident. It was like I don't know, just like a lot of stuff. So I didn't want to leave that out of here. I wanted to make sure that we brought that up because it is so unfortunate, and we hate to see it. So
hate to see it, man. Hey, it's good talking to you, Parlay Pete. We should probably do this again next week.
Same time?
I don't know. It depends. Maybe we go back to Wednesdays. We'll see.
I don't think there's a finals game on. As long as there's not a finals game, it probably makes more.
Yeah, we should be back on Wednesday.
Because they play tomorrow.
I mean, we have
probably play until Tuesday. Yeah, it won't be Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean, it could be over by then.
Yeah, if you think the Sirs are gonna win, maybe, but we'll see.
We got a game. We got Friday, Monday, then Thursday. So yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday. Monday to Thursday is nasty work, by the way.
It makes sense from a game 5 to a game 6 travel. It makes sense. I mean,
I know, but like
they're not far, but like
they are stretching these games, man.
Well, look at it this way. In hockey, right? They're playing tonight, and that's Miami to Vancouver. Or not Vancouver, Edmonton. So, like, with them, they're like, that's real travel. Indianapolis to Oklahoma is probably an hour and 40-minute tops type flight.
Man, yeah. Or you could put them niggas on a bus.
Right. They're both in the Midwest. So, just different parts of the Midwest.
Let's see. Last thing. Let's see. Oklahoma City. No, I don't want guys. Just give me fucking directions.
I don't know why this says 5 hours. Hold on. That's not real. I put OKC to IND. Let me see flight time.
And so it's 10 hours, 10 and a half hours driving.
I want to see. Oh, you know what? It looks like there's no such thing as a direct flight because neither of those airports are share. Real. Yeah. Neither of them are private.
They're flying private, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, even for a fan, it looks like you'd always have to have a connector. But even, it says OKC to Indy, you'd fly on Delta, OKC to here, then here to Indy is only, flight time is 4:23. So, yeah, like that can't be bad. It's not bad at all.
No.
Even with the connector, like that's not bad.
It's a 10 and a half hour drive. It's not bad.
OKC to Dallas and then Dallas to Indy 4:11, which would probably make the most sense coming from OKC.
Yeah.
And same with Indy. If you fly on American, you'd fly Indy to Chicago, then Chicago to OKC. But
this guy's been on a plane or two, huh?
I know a thing or two about American Airlines.
Okay, well it's 10:30, man. I don't know about you, but I've got to go to bed.
Meet myself too. I got a little job me and my brother are doing in Tuxedo Park tomorrow. So
okay, that'll be fun. I'm gonna do some yoga tomorrow, maybe some Pilates.
Shout out to Matt Flowers.
Shout out to Matt Flowers, man. Great American.
All right, well, same time next week, possibly Wednesday instead, but time probably kind of close to the same. Salutations.
Yeah, salutations. You have a good one.
All right.